Have you ever felt it? A quiet hum beneath the noise of your own life. A single perfect note drowned out by the orchestra of demands, anxieties, and expectations. It is a resonance so deep, so fundamental, that you might mistake its absence for silence, and its presence for a longing you cannot name. This is the sound of your own being, the frequency of your soul, waiting patiently beneath the static of a world that never stops talking. You live in a state of constant motion, a world of notifications and deadlines, a frantic race for goals that, once achieved, leave a hollow echo. You strive, you build, you push forward, yet you feel a subtle drifting, a quiet estrangement from the person you were meant to be. This is the exhaustion that sleep cannot cure. It is not a fatigue of the body, but a weariness of the spirit. It is the deep, pervasive ache of being out of tune, a dissonance between the life you are living and the life that is trying to live through you. You have tried to fix the outer world, rearranging the furniture of your circumstances, hoping to find peace. But the discord is not out there. It is within. This space, right here, right now, is an invitation to stop. It is a sanctuary built of silence and intention. We are not here to learn a new theory or to add another layer of information to an already overloaded mind. We are here to remember, to engage in a process of recalibration, a sacred tuning of your inner instrument. Consider this journey not as a lesson, but as an act of listening, a turning away from the noise of the world to finally hear the music of your own existence. Our purpose is to find that original note, that silent hum that has been there all along, to quiet the orchestra just for a moment and listen for the pure, unwavering tone of your own authentic self. The journey back to your own frequency begins now. Here is the detailed script for Part 2.1. We begin our journey not with a great effort, but with a gentle release. You have spent your life striving, reaching, and holding on. The first step towards hearing your own frequency is not to listen harder, but to allow the noise to soften. It is to recognize a fundamental truth about your own nature, a truth that has been obscured by the frantic pace of living. Within your single body, two distinct modes of being coexist. There is the self that does and the self that is. The great source of our inner turmoil, our vibrational dissonance, lies in having forgotten which one is our true home. First, let us acknowledge the self you know most intimately, the one on the surface. This is the doer, the planner, the worrier, the achiever. This self is a creature of time, its identity woven from the threads of your past and the anxieties of your future. It is the self that carries your name, your titles, your roles. It is the parent, the child, the partner, the employee, the friend. It defines itself by its accomplishments and its failures, its possessions and its relationships. This surface self is a relentless current of mental activity. It believes its purpose is to solve, to manage, to control. It thrives on the very drama it claims to despise. For without a problem to solve or a goal to chase, it fears it would cease to exist. It is a builder of walls and a chaser of horizons, never fully present where it stands because it is always leaning into the next moment. Its entire existence is a reaction. A good email elevates its frequency. A critical comment plummets it into despair. It is a ship without an anchor, tossed on the waves of circumstance, its sails perpetually catching the winds of external validation and fear. This is the source of the frantic energy you feel, the constant, low-grade hum of anxiety. It is the storm, and for your entire life, you have believed that you are this storm. But there is another self. Beneath the turbulence, there is a vastness that the storm cannot touch. This is the self that simply is. It is the silent witness, the unwavering presence that has observed every thought, every emotion, every experience you have ever had. It has no name, for names are limitations. It has no history, for it exists only in the timeless now. It has no agenda, for it is already whole and complete. This is the sky, and the thoughts are merely clouds passing through. The storms of rage, the downpours of sorrow, the brilliant flashes of insight, they all happen within the vast, unchanging expanse of this awareness. The sky does not cling to the thundercloud, nor does it try to push the sun away. It simply allows everything to be, to arise and to pass, knowing that its own nature is peace. Imagine your consciousness as a great, deep lake. On the surface, the wind creates ripples and waves. A passing boat, a falling leaf, a sudden gust, these are your daily thoughts, your fleeting emotions, your reactions to the world. They create a constant, churning motion. This is where the surface self lives, fixated on the ever-changing patterns of the water. But if you allow your awareness to sink, to drift down below the agitated surface, you find that the water grows stiller, deeper, quieter. Down in the profound depths of the lake, there is no storm. There is only a vast, silent, peaceful darkness. The chaos of the surface is a distant memory, completely unable to disturb the profound stillness here. This depth is your true home. It is the source of the silent hum. It is the seat of your being. Its stillness is not emptiness. It is a fullness of pure potential. It is the source of all true power, all genuine peace, all authentic creation. The world can only touch the surface of your lake unless you give it permission to poison the depths. The single greatest tragedy of the human condition is the case of mistaken identity. We have forgotten the sky and believe we are the cloud. We have forgotten the deep lake and believe we are the fleeting ripple. This is the great misidentification. The root of all suffering is not the existence of pain or fear or sorrow. It is the belief that you are the pain, the fear, the sorrow. When a thought of failure arises, you do not just observe it. You fuse with it. You say, "I am a failure." You take a temporary, insubstantial flicker of energy and make it the definition of your being. When a wave of sadness washes over you, you do not allow it to move through you. You declare, "I am sad," and in doing so, you become a monument to that feeling, holding it in place long after it should have passed. You have mistaken the character you are playing for the actor who is aware of the role. You have given your power away to the transient creations of your own mind. This is why they feel so heavy. This is why they have the power to disturb your frequency. You are feeding them with your own life force through the simple, devastating power of your belief in them. The path back home, the first step in reclaiming your power and retuning your being, is through the practice of disidentification. It is the simple yet profound act of stepping back, of consciously choosing to shift your identity from the thought to the watcher of the thought. It does not require years of practice or a remote monastery. It requires only your willingness, right now, in this moment. Let us try it. You do not need to change your posture or close your eyes unless you wish to. For the next few moments, or even just for the duration of 3 conscious breaths, your only task is to become the witness. Become the sky. Notice the thoughts as they drift into your awareness. A thought about your to-do list might appear. Instead of following it down a rabbit hole of planning and anxiety, simply notice it. You can even label it gently in your mind. Planning. And then you let it go. You remain the sky as the cloud of planning drifts by. A memory from yesterday might surface. Notice it. A memory, and you let it drift. A sensation of impatience or boredom might arise. Notice that too. Impatience. Do not judge it. Do not criticize yourself for having it. Do not analyze why it is there. Simply observe it with a detached curiosity, as a scientist might observe a strange and fascinating weather pattern. The mind will fight this. It is not accustomed to being watched. It is accustomed to being the master of the show. It will try to pull you back into the story, to make you identify with the thought again. This is not a failure of the practice. This is the practice itself. Each time you notice you have been swept away by a thought, and you gently, without judgment, return to the seat of the silent watcher, you are strengthening a spiritual muscle. You are reclaiming your ground. You are remembering who you are. This is not a practice of emptying the mind. It is a practice of realizing you are the vast, empty space in which the mind is allowed to happen. By doing this, even for a few minutes each day, you begin to create a separation, a sacred pause, between the stimulus of the world and your response. You stop being a purely reactive creature, a ripple on the surface, and you begin to feel the unshakable stability of the depths. This is the first and most crucial step in mastering your vibration. You cannot change a frequency you are completely merged with. You must first step back to become the observer of the frequency. You are the stillness beneath all the noise. You are the silence in which every sound is born and into which it dies. This silent hum is not something you must create. It is your natural state. It is your birthright. The practice is simply to clear away the debris that has hidden it from your own awareness. Having found this silent ground of being, this seat of the witness, we can now turn our attention to the nature of the noise itself. We can begin to explore the architecture of that powerful, creative, and often chaotic space from which the clouds of thought arise. The echo chamber of the mind. Having found the silent seat of the witness, we now turn our gaze upon the stage itself, the mind. We have been taught to trust it implicitly, to see it as a clear window through which we perceive the world. But this is a profound misunderstanding. The mind is not a window. It is a chamber, an acoustic space whose very walls are designed to echo. It does not simply perceive reality. It interprets, amplifies, and endlessly reflects what is presented to it, creating a world of its own. Your experience of life is not dictated by what happens to you, but by the echoes you allow to reverberate within this sacred and often treacherous inner space. Let us examine the mechanics of this chamber. A single thought enters, perhaps from an external comment or an internal fear. Let us say the thought is, "I made a mistake." In a silent space, this thought would arise and pass away, a fleeting whisper. But inside the echo chamber of the mind, it does not pass. It strikes a wall. This wall is built of every past mistake you have ever made, every criticism you have ever received. The thought doesn't just fade, it rebounds, now amplified with the energy of past regrets. I always make mistakes. This louder echo then hits another wall, the wall of the future, which is built of your fears and anxieties. The echo transforms again, now carrying a new resonance of dread. I will make this mistake again. I will fail. The original, simple, neutral observation of an eventhos now become a deafening chorus of self-condemnation, a prophecy of doom. This is how the chamber works. It takes a single sound and creates a symphony from it, its quality determined entirely by the nature of that first note. Now imagine this process repeated not just for a moment, but for days, for years, for decades. A single belief, like I am not worthy, becomes the foundational hum of the entire chamber. Every new experience is then filtered through this hum. A success is dismissed as a fluke, its sound quickly absorbed by the dense, low-frequency walls. A failure is amplified 1,000 times, its echo confirming the resonant belief. See? It's true. I am not worthy. This is how your vibrational reality is constructed. You are not living in the world as it is. You are living in the echo chamber of your dominant beliefs. The chamber is fundamentally neutral. It is a magnificent, powerful amplifier. If you introduce a thought of gratitude, it will be reflected off walls of past joys and future hopes, creating a resonant field of abundance. The chamber does not judge. It only reflects and amplifies. The question, then, is not how to rebuild the chamber, but who is choosing the music. Here we encounter a painful paradox, a conflict that keeps so many souls in a state of suffering. We are aware, at some level, that these repetitive, negative thoughts are the source of our pain. Yet, we cannot seem to stop them. We find ourselves unconsciously, almost addictively, returning to the same painful thought loops. Why? Because the ego finds a strange and perverse comfort in the familiar, even if the familiar is a state of misery. The story of your struggle, your pain, your victimhood. This story has become your identity. Ruminating on the echoes that prove this story true is a way of reinforcing your sense of self. To let go of the painful echo would mean letting go of a part of who you believe you are, and that feels like a death. It is a known hell, which the ego often prefers to the unknown heaven of a new story. An old, painful thought is like a well-worn groove in the landscape of the mind. It takes no effort for the energy of your attention to flow down that path. To think a new thought, to carve a new path, requires conscious effort. And so, we remain addicted to the echoes of our own suffering. But in this understanding lies the ray of light, the truth that sets you free. You are not the echo. You are not the walls of the chamber. You are the curator. You are the one who stands at the center of the room and decides which sound to make. This is the moment of your true empowerment. The echoes of the past have no power over you unless you give it to them by reintroducing their sound into the chamber today. Your thoughts are not immutable facts carved in stone. They are tools. They are proposals. They are suggestions offered by your conditioned mind, and you have the absolute authority to either accept or reject their proposal. For years, you have unconsciously allowed the tool of self-criticism to be the only instrument played in the room. But you can, at any moment, choose to put it down. You can choose to pick up the tool of curiosity, the tool of compassion, the tool of forgiveness. The walls do not choose what they reflect. You do, changing your vibration. Your entire experience of reality begins with this singular, courageous choice to consciously choose the thoughts you will dignify with your attention. This brings us to a practice, a way to become a conscious curator of your inner world. It is the art of pattern interruption. It begins with the awareness you cultivated as the silent watcher. The moment you wake up inside a storm of negative thinking, the moment you realize, here it is again. The echo of unworthiness, that is the moment of power. In that moment of recognition, you do not fight the thought. You do not try to suppress it. You introduce a single powerful element that disrupts the echo, a sacred question. You ask the thought with genuine curiosity. Is this absolutely true? When the echo screams, "You will never succeed," you calmly and quietly ask the echo, "Is it absolutely 100% true that I will never succeed?" The mind cannot answer this with absolute certainty. In that questioning, a space is created. A crack appears in the seamless wall of negative belief. The echo falters. Silence enters the chamber. After this sacred pause, after the pattern has been interrupted, you consciously choose a new sound to introduce. This does not have to be a grand, unbelievable affirmation. It simply needs to be different. It needs to be truer. If the old echo was, "I am a failure," the new quiet sound might be, "I am learning." If the old echo was, "Nobody cares," the new sound could be, "I am willing to care for myself." You are planting a new seed. At first, its sound may seem quiet, easily drowned out by the old booming echoes, but you plant it again, and again, and again. Each time you interrupt the old pattern and introduce the new one, you are carving a new groove in the mind. You are rewiring your own echo chamber. Your mind is a garden or a wasteland. The choice has always been yours. You can spend a lifetime analyzing the weeds, tracing their roots, cursing their existence. Or you can simply begin, today, to plant a single flower, and then another, and then another. You are the master of your inner world, the curator of your echo chamber. You can spend your life trying to polish the mirrors, hoping to see a better reflection. Or you can simply choose to place a single, beautiful candle in the center of the room and watch as its light gently, inevitably, fills every surface with its warm and gentle glow. But the echoes in this chamber are not just made of thought. Some have a deeper, heavier resonance, a weight that pulls at our very being. They are the sounds that have no words, the vibrations that live in the body. These are the sounds of unfelt emotions, and it is to their profound gravity that we must now turn. We have walked through the echo chamber of the mind, learning to witness the thoughts rather than becoming lost in their noise. But some echoes are different. They are not light and fleeting like clouds, but heavy, dense, and visceral. They resonate not just in the mind, but in the very cells of your body. These are the echoes of unfelt emotions. We must now turn our attention to this inner gravity, the profound weight that holds our frequency down. For the word emotion itself holds the secret. It is energy in motion, energy that is designed to move through you, not to become a permanent resident within you. Yet for most of our lives, we have been taught to do the opposite. We have been taught to build dams against this sacred flow, believing that strength lies in containment. We did not realize we were creating stagnant, poisoned reservoirs within our own being. This process of dam building begins in our earliest years. A child cries and is told, "Don't be sad. There's nothing to cry about." A child expresses anger and is told, "Nice children don't get angry." A child is afraid and is told, "Don't be a baby, be brave." We receive the message, loud and clear. Certain energies are not welcome here. They are wrong, they are shameful, they are weak. And so we learn to suppress. We learn the subtle physical maneuvers of emotional containment. We clench our jaw to choke back the words of anger. We swallow the painful lump in our throat to hold back the tears of grief. We distract ourselves with activity, food, or noise to avoid the trembling of fear. Each time we do this, we are stopping energy in its tracks. And energy, like water, when it is stopped from flowing, does not simply disappear. It pools, it stagnates, it condenses. This is not merely a metaphor. It is a physiological reality. The unfelt anger becomes a chronic tension in your shoulders and neck. The unshed tears become a persistent tightness in your chest. The unacknowledged fear becomes a knot of anxiety in the pit of your stomach. These are not just feelings, they are solid blocks of low-frequency energy, stored in the cellular memory of your body. They are the true source of that mysterious gravity that pulls you down, that makes joy feel distant and peace feel impossible. They become the dense filter through which you experience the world, coloring every interaction with a faint residue of old sadness, old anger, old fear. This is the burden of the unfelt, and carrying this burden is utterly exhausting. This is the deep, pervasive weariness that has nothing to do with lack of sleep. It is the monumental, continuous expenditure of life force required to hold these dams in place. Imagine trying to hold a large beach ball underwater. It takes constant, focused pressure. The moment your attention wavers, the ball threatens to surge to the surface. This is what you have been doing your entire life, holding down decades of unprocessed energy. We fear that if we let go, the force of it will explode and destroy us. We fear that if we truly allow ourselves to feel the depth of our grief, we will drown in it forever. We fear that if we touch the core of our rage, we will become a destructive inferno. So we continue to push down, to suppress, to contain, believing this is strength. But this is a tragic illusion. The strength we have been taught to admire, the stoic, uncomplaining endurance sees, often a profound form of self-abandonment. True strength is not the ability to feel nothing. It is the courage to feel everything. It is the willingness to become the riverbed for the entirety of the river of life, trusting that you are vast enough, strong enough, to allow any current to flow through you without being destroyed by it. The river of sadness does not want to drown you. It wants to flow through you to cleanse you of a loss. The river of anger does not want to burn you. It wants to flow through you to honor a boundary that was violated. You are not the water. You are the sacred container for the water. In this understanding lies the key, the profound alchemical secret to releasing this gravity. To heal it, you must feel it. The only way out is through. The very act you have been avoiding is the one that contains your liberation. When you give an emotion the gift of your pure, non-judgmental awareness, you are meeting it with a higher frequency. The light of your presence becomes the solvent that dissolves the dense, solidified energy. Emotions are messengers, not enemies. They are sacred information from your soul. By refusing to feel them, you are shooting the messenger and ignoring the vital intelligence it carries. By allowing yourself to feel them fully, you receive the message, you honor its purpose, and you permit the energy to complete its natural cycle. It moves, and in moving, it moves on. This leads us to a practice of profound healing. It is not an intellectual exercise of analyzing your past. It is the simple, embodied practice of being present with the energy itself. When you notice a difficult emotion arising, see it not as a crisis, but as an opportunity for release. If you can, find a quiet space to sit for a few moments. Your first step is not to ask, "Why do I feel this way?" but rather, "Where do I feel this way?" Close your eyes and scan your body. Where does this sadness live? Is it a hollowness in your chest? A pressure behind your eyes? A coldness in your hands? Locate its physical signature. Be as specific as you can. Once you have located it, your next step is to investigate its pure sensation. Forget the story, the narrative of why you are sad or angry. That is the mind's echo chamber trying to reclaim control. Your task is to stay with the raw physical data of the emotion itself. Is the sensation in your chest sharp or dull? Is it vibrating or still? Is it hot or cold, heavy or light? Approach it with the gentle curiosity of a scientist discovering a new phenomenon. You are not trying to change it or fix it. You are simply getting to know it. Finally, you breathe. You direct your breath into that physical location in your body. Imagine your breath as a current of warm, liquid, compassionate light. With each inhalation, you imagine this light flowing into and surrounding the dense knot of energy. With each exhalation, you just soften. You are not trying to push the feeling away with your breath. You are doing something far more powerful. You are keeping it company. You are saying to this abandoned part of yourself, "I see you. I feel you. You are allowed to be here." In this simple act of compassionate presence, the magic happens. The solidified energy, met with the warmth of your awareness, begins to soften. Its edges begin to dissolve. The dam does not break in a violent, overwhelming explosion. It dissolves gently in the light of your own loving attention. The river begins to flow again. As you practice this, you will notice a lightness returning to your being. Releasing the gravity of a single, long-held emotion can feel like taking off a heavy backpack you didn't even know you were wearing. Your baseline frequency begins to rise, not through force, but through release. You are not building yourself up. You are letting go of what has been weighing you down. As you clear this inner landscape, you become more sensitive, more alive. And you start to notice that your frequency is not just influenced from within. It is in a constant, resonant conversation with the world around you, with the people, places, and information that fill your days. We must now turn our awareness outwards to understand the subtle and powerful resonance of your environment. Having cleared the inner channels and begun the sacred work of feeling our emotions, we lift our gaze. We have tended to the garden within, but now we must acknowledge the weather. You do not exist in a vacuum. Your inner world, no matter how carefully cultivated, is in a constant, dynamic dialogue with the world outside. You are a permeable being, an energetic membrane that is continuously influenced by the resonant frequencies of your environment. To believe you can maintain a high vibration while immersed in a low-frequency environment is like trying to stay dry in a rainstorm without an umbrella. It is a noble but futile effort. The next stage of our work is to become a conscious steward of our energetic space, to understand that what we surround ourselves with, we become. Think of your energy field as a sponge. By its very nature, it is designed to absorb. This is not a flaw. It is a fundamental aspect of your interconnectedness with life. When you walk into a room where a bitter argument has just taken place, you can feel the thick, heavy tension in the air, even if not a word is spoken. Your sponge-like nature is absorbing the residual frequency of that conflict. Conversely, when you enter a space filled with genuine laughter and joy, you feel an immediate sense of lightness and ease. Your energy field is soaking up the high, coherent frequency of that happiness. This vibrational contagion is happening constantly, whether you are aware of it or not. The people you speak with, the places you inhabit, the information you consume, they are all streams of energy that you are, to some degree, absorbing into your being. Let us speak plainly about the sources of this environmental drain. They are often the most familiar parts of our lives. There are the people who, despite our love or loyalty to them, function as energetic anchors. There is the chronic complainer, who sees only lack and difficulty, and whose every conversation is a recital of grievances. To be in their presence is to have your own energy field constantly bombarded with the frequency of victimhood. There is the subtle critic, whose helpful advice is always laced with the energy of judgment, leaving you feeling small and inadequate. There is the drama magnet, who thrives on chaos and crisis, pulling you into their vortex of instability. Spending time with these individuals, especially if you have unresolved wounds of your own, is like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it. No matter how much inner work you do, your life force is steadily leaking away. Then there are the places. The cluttered home that reflects a chaotic mind, its stagnant energy, creating a feeling of being stuck and overwhelmed. The sterile, fluorescent-lit office where creativity and spirit go to die, its frequency one of monotonous obligation. These environments constantly broadcast a low-vibration signal that your system unconsciously attunes to day after day. And perhaps most insidiously in our modern age, there is the information you consume, the daily fire hose of fear, outrage, and division that masquerades as staying informed. The endless scroll through social media, an algorithmically designed landscape of comparison, envy, and curated perfection that broadcasts one message over and over. You are not enough. Each click, each view, each angry comment you read is a small deposit of toxic, low-frequency energy into your sponge. Over time, you become saturated with it, and you begin to mistake this state of agitated anxiety for a normal way of being. Herein lies the profound inner conflict. Your soul, your very being, craves expansion, light, and peace. It instinctively knows it needs a healthy environment to thrive. Yet your conditioned mind, your sense of obligation and loyalty, chains you to the sources of the drain. The thought of setting a boundary with a family member brings a wave of guilt. The idea of leaving a stable but soul-crushing job triggers immense fear. The choice to unplug from the ceaseless cycle of negative news feels irresponsible. This is the battle between your desire for personal liberation and your deeply ingrained programming to please others and fit in. You fear that choosing a healthier environment is selfish. This is the most critical reframing you must undertake. Curating your energetic environment is not selfish. It is the most profound act of self-respect you can engage in. It is not an act of rejection, but an act of selection. It is recognizing that you are a sensitive instrument and that to play your most beautiful music, you must protect yourself from interference. You cannot be a beacon of light for others if your own batteries are constantly being drained. You cannot pour from an empty cup. To honor your own well-being first is not to deny love to others. It is to ensure that the love you eventually give is pure and resonant, not tainted by resentment and depletion. You are the guardian at the gate of your own sacred temple. Deciding who and what you allow inside is not an act of hostility. It is an act of holy stewardship. This realization must be followed by action. The practice here is to conduct an honest energy audit of your life. For 1 week, become a dispassionate observer of your own state. Carry a small notebook or use an app on your phone. After each significant interaction, activity, or information session, pause. Close your eyes, take a breath, and ask yourself a simple question. Do I feel expanded or contracted? Do I feel energized or depleted? Do I feel lighter or heavier? Simply notice, without judgment. After spending an hour scrolling through social media, how does your body feel? After talking with a specific friend, what is the energetic residue? After spending time in nature, what is the effect? At the end of the week, review your notes. The patterns will be starkly clear. You will have a list of your primary energy drains and your primary energy sources. Now, the work is to begin, incrementally, to shift the balance. This is not about cutting everyone off and moving to a mountain cave. It is about making small, sustainable choices. Can you unfollow the accounts that consistently make you feel bad about yourself? Can you limit your news intake to 10 minutes in the morning? Can you choose to let the phone ring when a particularly draining person calls and get back to them later when you feel more resilient? Can you spend 15 more minutes a week listening to music that uplifts your soul? For every energy drain you reduce, you create a vacuum. It is vital that you consciously fill that vacuum with a source of nourishment. If you reduce your time with a cynical friend, you must intentionally schedule time with a friend who inspires you. If you stop watching terrifying television shows at night, you must replace that ritual with reading a beautiful book or taking a warm bath. You are actively redesigning your resonant field. Do not try to turn yourself into an impenetrable fortress. A healthy being is not hard and closed, but soft, open, and discerning. The goal is to consciously choose which waters you will allow your sponge to soak in. By taking responsibility for your environment, you are taking the power back. You are declaring that your inner peace is more important than anyone else's approval, and your energetic health is more valuable than any distraction. You are making your well-being a non-negotiable priority. And from this place of fullness, of radiant and carefully tended energy, you can then move into the next phase of your journey, the profound work of intentional creation, which begins not with action, but with the quiet, focused power of solitude. Having taken the courageous step of auditing your environment, you have begun to create an external space that supports your growth. You have started to turn down the volume of the world. Now, we must take the next, most essential step, to enter the one environment you cannot escape, the one we are most conditioned to fear. We must enter the sanctuary of solitude. In our hyper-connected, relentlessly noisy world, the word alone has become synonymous with lonely. We see solitude as a state of lack, a social failure, an emptiness to be avoided at all costs. But this is a profound illusion. Loneliness is the pain of feeling disconnected from others. Solitude is the joy of being deeply connected with oneself. It is not a punishment, it is a privilege. And it is the indispensable laboratory for the alchemy of personal transformation. Let us be honest about the source of this widespread fear. We are not afraid of the silence itself. We are afraid of what we might hear in the silence. For years, we have used the noise of the world as a form of anesthetic. The endless podcasts, the perpetual social media scroll, the back-to-back television series, the constant chatter, these are not just entertainment, they are buffers. They are a carefully constructed wall of sound that prevents us from having to truly listen to the rumblings of our own inner world. When the external noise stops, the internal noise becomes deafening. The unresolved emotions, the critical inner voices, the deep longings we have ignored, they all begin to surface. The phone in our hand has become the ultimate escape hatch, a portal we can open at the slightest hint of discomfort to flee from the present moment, and most importantly, to flee from ourselves. The ego, which defines itself through interaction and external reflection, panics in the stillness. It fears this perceived emptiness, this lack of stimulation, because it mistakes it for its own death. It cannot comprehend that what it fears as a void is, in fact, the vibrant fullness of being. To willingly enter solitude is to step into the forge of the soul. A forge is not a comfortable place. It is a place of fire, pressure, and transformation. The raw, unrefined ore of your being heavy with the conditioning of your past and the absorbed frequencies of your environment cannot be purified in a comfortable setting. It must be subjected to intense heat. This heat is the discomfort of facing yourself without any shield or distraction. It is the moment you sit alone in a quiet room and the anxiety begins to rise, the sadness surfaces, the boredom feels unbearable. Our instinct is to immediately run, to grab the phone, to turn on the television. The alchemical path is to stay, to breathe, to allow the heat to rise, knowing that its purpose is to make you malleable, to soften the rigid structures of your personality so that they can be reshaped. In this fiery crucible, your awareness becomes the hammer. As you sit with the uncomfortable energies, you observe them with the clarity you have been cultivating. You see a limiting belief surface. I am not capable. And with the hammer of your conscious attention, you gently tap it, questioning its validity, observing its insubstantial nature. You feel a wave of old grief, and instead of being swept away, you hold your ground and hammer it with the force of your compassion, allowing it to break apart and release its trapped energy. The impurities, the dross that is burned away in this fire, are all the parts of you that are not truly you. They are other people's opinions that you have mistaken for your own. They are societal expectations you have internalized. They are the fears you have inherited. In the searing, honest heat of solitude, all that is false and borrowed is consumed by the flames. What is left is the pure, glowing metal of your essential self. It is stronger, more resilient, and it rings with a clear, authentic tone that is unmistakably your own. Here, in the forge, the most fundamental shift of all occurs. Out in the world, you are primarily a receiver. Your senses are constantly taking in data. Your energy field is absorbing frequencies, and your mind is reacting to an endless stream of external stimuli. You are an energetic sponge, a resonant receiver for the broadcasts of the world. In solitude, this dynamic is reversed. By consciously silencing the incoming signals, you create a space of profound quiet. And in that quiet, for the first time, you can begin to clearly discern the faint signal that is originating from within you. This is the voice of your intuition. This is the hum of your soul. This is your true frequency, pure and unadulterated. At first, it may be a whisper, but the more time you spend in the silent forge, the stronger and clearer it becomes. You move from being a passive receiver to a conscious transmitter. You stop being an echo of the world's noise, and you start to become a source of your own music. This is the ultimate purpose of solitude, to remember your own song, and to learn to sing it with power and clarity. This is not something to be left to chance. You must claim this sacred time with intention. The practice is to schedule a date with yourself. Treat this appointment with the same reverence you would a meeting with a wise and beloved mentor. Put it in your calendar. An hour with my soul. When the time comes, honor it. This is non-negotiable time. Turn off your phone or put it in another room. Let your family or housemates know that you are not to be disturbed. The activity itself is secondary to the intention. You might take a silent walk in nature, feeling the connection between your feet and the earth. You might sit with a journal and a cup of tea, allowing your thoughts to pour onto the page without censorship. You might simply sit by a window, watching the clouds, with no other goal than to be present with your own existence. The purpose of this date is not to be productive. It is not to solve your problems or to strategize your next move. The purpose is simply to be, to listen, to allow, to keep yourself company as you would a dear friend. Whatever arises, boredom, sadness, joy, anger, brilliant ideas, or complete emptiness, you welcome it all. You are creating a safe, loving container for your own being. You are signaling to the deepest parts of yourself that they are seen, they are heard, and they are welcome. You emerge from the forge of solitude not necessarily rested but renewed, not necessarily comfortable but clear. The impurities have been burned away, and the pure metal of your being has been tempered and strengthened. Your own signal is now strong and steady, no longer drowned out by the interference of the world. And in this newfound clarity, in this sacred silence you have cultivated, you begin to notice a rhythm that was always there, pulsing just beneath your awareness. You discover the most ancient, immediate, and powerful tool for purifying your state in any given moment, the conscious breath. In the sacred silent space you have carved out for yourself, a rhythm emerges. It is a presence that has been with you from your first moment of life to your last, yet one you have almost completely ignored. It is the gentle rise and fall of your chest, the subtle sensation of air entering and leaving your body. It is your breath. We have been taught to think of breathing as a mere biological necessity, an automatic function that keeps the body alive. But this is like seeing the sun as a simple light bulb. The breath is not just air, it is life force. It is the sacred bridge between the visible world of your body and the invisible world of your energy, the conduit between your conscious mind and your deepest autonomic programming. It is the most powerful, portable, and immediate tool you possess for the purification and mastery of your own state. For most of your life, you have been breathed by your circumstances. Your inner state has dictated the rhythm and depth of your breath, and you have been a passive passenger. When you feel anxious, your breathing becomes shallow, rapid, and located high in your chest. This pattern sends a panic signal to your nervous system, confirming its alarm, flooding your body with stress hormones in a self-perpetuating cycle of anxiety. You are literally breathing life into your own fear. When you feel a surge of anger or frustration, you may hold your breath, trapping the volatile energy within your body, causing it to fester and solidify. When you are lost in grief, your breath becomes ragged, uneven, punctuated by heavy sighs that only deepen the feeling of despair. In this unconscious state, your breath is not a tool, but a mirror, endlessly reflecting and reinforcing the chaos within. You are not breathing, you are being breathed by your own turmoil. The beginning of true freedom is the realization that you can consciously intervene in this cycle. You can pick up the reins. You can choose to stop being breathed by your fear, and instead, to breathe peace into your fear. This is an act of profound authority. Imagine your mind as a foggy landscape, where swirling mists of confusion, worry, and doubt obscure your vision. You cannot fight the fog. You cannot reason with it or push it away. To do so is to become lost in it. The conscious breath is the great wind. When you begin to breathe with deep, deliberate intention, you become this wind. You do not attack the fog, but you change the very atmosphere in which it exists. The steady, powerful current of your conscious breath moves through your inner world, bringing with it space and clarity. The fog doesn't flee in terror. It simply, naturally, dissolves in the face of this new, clear current, revealing the calm, stable landscape that was there all along. This is not a mystical metaphor alone. It is a physiological fact. When you deliberately slow down your breathing, making your exhalation slightly longer than your inhalation, you are activating your parasympathetic nervous system. This is the body's braking system, the network responsible for rest, digestion, and repair. A few deep, conscious breaths send an unequivocal signal to every one of the trillions of cells in your body. The signal says, "You are safe. The threat has passed. You can stand down." This command overrides the frantic chatter of the anxious mind. You cannot think your way into a state of calm when your body is screaming that it is in danger, but you can breathe your way into it. By changing your physical state, you forcibly change your emotional and energetic state. You are hacking into your own operating system and running a new program, a program of peace. Beyond this immediate chemical shift, the breath holds an even deeper power. It is your unbreakable anchor to the present moment. Your mind is a time traveler. It can journey instantly into the infinite corridors of the past, replaying regrets and glories. It can launch itself into 1,000 possible futures, rehearsing anxieties and fantasies. The mind rarely, if ever, rests in the now. But your breath cannot time travel. It can only happen in this exact moment. It is always and only now. Therefore, when you place your full, undivided attention on the simple, physical sensation of your breath, you are performing a sacred act of retrieval. You are pulling your scattered awareness back from the illusory worlds of past and future and anchoring it firmly in the only point of power you will ever have, the eternal present. It is only in the now that you can make a new choice. It is only in the now that you can access your true power. The breath is your golden key, your secret passage back to this point of power, available to you at any time, in any place. Let us engage this power now with a simple, ancient, and profoundly effective practice. It is sometimes called square breathing or box breathing because it has 4 equal sides, creating a structure of stability and calm. You can do this with your eyes open or closed, sitting, standing, or lying down. First, gently exhale all the air from your lungs. Let it all go. Now, begin the first side of the square. Inhale slowly and quietly through your nose to a steady count of 4. Feel the breath. Fill not just your chest, but your belly. Let it be deep and full. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, the second side. Gently hold the breath at the peak of the inhalation for an equal count of 4. This is not a strained, forceful hold. It is a peaceful pause, a moment of pregnant stillness. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the third side. Exhale slowly and completely, either through your nose or mouth, again to a steady count of 4. Imagine you are releasing not just air, but tension, worry, and static. 1, 2, 3, 4. Finally, the fourth side. At the bottom of the exhalation, hold the empty space for a final count of 4. This is a moment of surrender, of peace, of pure potential before the next cycle begins. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is one full cycle. Now, continue on your own for a few more rounds. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. The symmetrical rhythm begins to entrain your heart rate, your blood pressure, your brain waves. You are bringing a predictable, calming order to the chaos of your internal systems. You are using the architecture of the breath to redesign the architecture of your being. Each conscious breath is a reset button. It is a miniature ritual of purification, a chance to let go of the moment that has just passed and to arrive, fresh and new, in the moment that is. It is the wind at your command, ready to clear the fog at a moment's notice. You have sat in the silence of solitude. You have now discovered the cleansing power of the breath. You have learned how to purify the inner air. We must now turn our attention to the very substance we use to build our vessel, the fuel that determines the quality of our energy. For just as we are what we breathe, we are also what we consume. We must move from the process of purification to the art of conscious nourishment. Having stepped into the silent forge of solitude and claimed the purifying power of the breath, you have learned to clear your inner space. You have created a pristine, energetic atmosphere. But a space, no matter how pure, must be sustained. A vessel, no matter how clean, must be filled. We now arrive at the profoundly practical art of conscious nourishment. For the quality of your vibration, the very fabric of your being, is woven directly from the materials you choose to consume. This consumption is not limited to the food you eat. It is everything you take in. Every image you see, every sound you hear, every word you read, every conversation you entertain. These are all forms of energy. They are the raw ingredients that you are metabolizing, moment by moment, to build the person you are becoming. Your consciousness is a fertile garden. What seeds have you been planting? Let us expand our understanding of nourishment across its full spectrum. The most tangible form is the food that fuels your body. There is a vast vibrational difference between a living food, a fresh, sun-ripened fruit, pulsing with life force and natural intelligence, and a dead food, a heavily processed item from a box, whose connection to the earth has been severed by chemical alteration. One carries the high, coherent frequency of life. The other carries the dense, chaotic frequency of industrial manufacturing. When you consume a living food, you are literally ingesting vitality. You are building your body with vibrant, intelligent energy. When you consume dead food, you are forcing your body to metabolize low-frequency substances that create inflammation, lethargy, and dissonance in your system. Just as there is food for the body, there is food for the mind. The information and media you consume are the diet that shapes your thoughts and beliefs. Consider the vibrational quality of your informational diet. Are you feeding your mind with stories of fear, outrage, and division, served up relentlessly by news cycles and social media algorithms designed to trigger your most reactive impulses? This is the junk food of the mind. It creates a state of perpetual agitation, anxiety, and contraction. Or are you choosing to nourish your mind with content that inspires, educates, and expands your sense of possibility? An insightful book, a beautiful documentary, a piece of art that stirs your soul. These are high vibrational superfoods for your consciousness. They build new neural pathways of hope, creativity, and understanding. Finally, there is the energy you consume in your interactions. The conversations you participate in are a form of energetic communion. When you engage in gossip, you are metabolizing the low-frequency energy of judgment and envy. When you participate in endless complaining, you are bathing your own cells in the frequency of victimhood and powerlessness. Conversely, when you engage in conversations that are supportive, compassionate, creative, and filled with genuine appreciation, you are nourishing yourself with the highest vibrational fuel available, the energy of authentic human connection. Why, then, do we so often choose the path of depletion? Why do we reach for the sugary snack, click on the outrageous headline, or get drawn into the dramatic argument? The answer is that these choices are rarely conscious. They are the result of a mind running on autopilot, driven by the insatiable, restless hunger of the ego. The ego craves distraction. It cannot bear the silent stillness of the present moment, so it seeks constant stimulation to numb its own deep-seated discomfort. Mindless scrolling is a tranquilizer. Binge-watching is an anesthetic. It is a flight from the self. The ego also craves intensity. It is drawn to drama, conflict, and outrage because these powerful emotional jolts make it feel alive and validated. It finds a strange sense of righteousness in anger and a perverse sense of identity in suffering. And above all, the ego craves the path of least resistance. Processed food is easy. Shallow entertainment is easy. Reacting from a place of old conditioning is easy. Conscious, nourishing choices require a moment of presence, and presence is the one thing the ego seeks to avoid. This is not a moral failure. It is simply a state of sleepwalking, of allowing your sacred vessel to be filled with whatever is most convenient. Here lies the core message that can transform your life. Your body, your mind, and your energy field constitute a sacred temple. You are the high priest or priestess of this temple. The act of choosing what you allow to cross its threshold is an act of devotion. It is the ultimate expression of self-love. You are also the head gardener of the temple grounds. Every choice to consume is the act of planting a seed in this garden. An act of mindful consumption is planting a flower. An act of mindless consumption is allowing a weed to take root. The choice to drink pure water instead of a chemical-laden soda, the choice to listen to calming music instead of an angry talk show, the choice to have a heartfelt conversation instead of engaging in gossip, these are not small, insignificant acts. They are profound declarations of your own worth. Each nourishing choice is a prayer made manifest. It is a powerful statement to the universe that says, I am worthy of being built from the finest materials. I am committed to making this temple a radiant and beautiful place. The practice for cultivating this sacred stewardship is rooted in a single, powerful action, the sacred pause. It is the art of inserting a sliver of consciousness between impulse and action. The trigger for this practice is the moment before consumption. Before you open the cabinet, before you click the play button, before you open your mouth to speak. In that precious, fleeting moment, you simply pause. You take one full, conscious breath, in and out. In the space created by that single breath, you ask your deeper self a simple, honest question. Will this nourish me, or will this deplete me? Let the question hang in the air. Do not let the loud voice of your ego, the voice of craving and habit, answer immediately. Listen for the quieter, deeper wisdom of your body. Your body knows. It will give you a clear feeling, a sense of expansion and lightness for what will nourish you, and a sense of contraction and heaviness for what will deplete you. Then, you make your choice. This is not about achieving perfection. It is about cultivating awareness. If you choose the depleting option, do so consciously. Notice how it feels. Observe the consequences without judgment. The goal is not to become a rigid purist, but to become a conscious participant in your own creation. As you practice this sacred pause, your choices will begin to shift, naturally and without force. Your own innate intelligence will guide you toward that which gives you life. You become the master architect of your own vibration, literally building a higher frequency into the cells of your body and the pathways of your mind. Your inner garden, no longer choked with weeds, begins to flourish. The soil becomes rich and vibrant. Nourishing life begins to grow in abundance. And as this inner garden becomes more radiant, you will inevitably notice a change in the reflections you see all around you. The world begins to mirror back the beauty and vitality you are cultivating within. Nowhere is this mirror more clear, more potent, and often more challenging than in the faces of those you encounter in the sacred, revealing space of your relationships. As you have begun to consciously nourish your inner garden, planting seeds of high vibrational thoughts and foods, a new sensitivity awakens. The temple you are building within becomes more refined, its walls more resonant. And as your own frequency rises and clarifies, you will notice a profound shift in how the world relates to you. The universe communicates with you through resonance, and its most direct, potent, and often confrontational messengers are the other people in your life. Every relationship is a mirror. The people you love, the people who challenge you, and the strangers you meet are all reflecting back to you the truth of your own inner state. Your work is not to polish the mirror, but to see the reflection for what it is, a direct report on the state of your own vibration. Let us first understand the mechanics of this reflection. It operates according to the immutable law of resonance. You are a complex chord of frequencies, composed of both the light of your conscious self and the shadow of your unconscious wounds. You will inevitably draw into your experience people who resonate with different aspects of this chord. This mirroring occurs in two primary ways. The first is positive reflection. When you deeply admire a quality in another person, their courage, their creativity, their unwavering compassion, you are not just seeing their light. You are recognizing a resonant frequency that also exists within you. That quality is a part of your own dormant potential, a beautiful aspect of your own soul that you are ready to acknowledge and cultivate. They are mirroring back to you the person you are becoming. The second form of reflection is far more challenging and infinitely more valuable for your growth. This is the negative reflection, the trigger. When a person irritates you, angers you, or provokes a strong negative emotional response, they have acted as a perfect mirror for an unhealed part of your own psyche. Their behavior, their words, their very presence has inadvertently touched upon a pre-existing energetic charge within you. Imagine you have a painful, unseen bruise on your arm. The bruise is your old wounded belief of not being worthy, a fear of being abandoned, a deep-seated feeling of being controlled. You may not even be aware of it. Then, someone comes along and lightly touches your arm in that exact spot, and you cry out in pain. Our immediate, reflexive reaction is to blame the person who touched us. You hurt me. But they did not create the bruise. They simply revealed, with perfect accuracy, where the pain was already stored. The trigger is not the cause of the wound. It is the divine messenger who points directly to it. Here we encounter the ego's most powerful defense mechanism, the blame game. When faced with the discomfort of a negative reflection, the ego's immediate strategy for self-preservation is to project outward. It is always their fault. He is so arrogant, she made me feel invisible. If only they would be more considerate, then I would feel peaceful. With each of these statements, the ego externalizes the problem, casting you in the role of the righteous victim and them in the role of the flawed perpetrator. It does this because looking inward is terrifying. To admit that another person's behavior is simply activating your own inner wound would require you to take responsibility for that wound. It would require vulnerability. It would shatter the ego's fragile sense of being right. So, it builds a fortress of blame. But this fortress is a prison. As long as your inner peace is conditional on another person's behavior, you are fundamentally powerless. You have handed the keys to your own emotional state over to someone else and are now waiting, hoping they will act in a way that doesn't disturb you. This is a state of profound vibrational servitude. The great alchemical shift, the practice that transmutes the lead of conflict into the gold of wisdom, is to change the fundamental question. You must abandon the question, why are they doing this to me? And adopt the far more powerful and courageous question, what is this showing me about myself? You must be willing to entertain the radical idea that every person who triggers you is a master teacher in disguise, a guru sent by the universe to hold up a mirror to the exact lesson your soul is ready to learn. This perspective does not mean you must condone or accept harmful, disrespectful, or abusive behavior. Setting healthy external boundaries is a vital act of self-love. You can and should remove yourself from unsafe or toxic situations. But the setting of external boundaries and the work of internal self-inquiry are two distinct and equally important tasks. The ultimate freedom comes from realizing that even if you cannot change another person's behavior, you have absolute power over your own internal reaction. And that reaction is your curriculum. The practice, then, is to learn to work with the mirror. When an interaction leaves you feeling charged and upset, resist the powerful reflexive urge to blame, complain, or lash out. See this as a sacred opportunity. Find a moment to be with yourself. First, pause. Take a conscious breath to create a space between the trigger and your conditioned response. Second, identify the charge. Name the specific feeling and the story attached to it. Use a clear "I feel" statement. For instance, I feel completely ignored and unseen, or I feel controlled and micromanaged, or I feel judged and criticized. Now comes the crucial third step. Turn the mirror inward. Take your statement and transform it into a gentle, honest question directed at yourself. If your statement was, I feel completely ignored and unseen, the inward question becomes, where am I ignoring and refusing to see myself? Am I dismissing my own intuition, my own needs, my own desires? If your statement was, I feel controlled, the inward question becomes, where am I being overly controlling and rigid with myself or in my life? Where am I strangling the natural flow of my own becoming? If you felt judged, you ask, where am I judging myself with this same harshness? Sit with this question. Do not seek an immediate intellectual answer, but allow the truth to surface from your body, from your heart. The answer will often surprise you with its simple, profound accuracy. The final step is to witness whatever arises with radical compassion. This is not another opportunity for self-criticism. This is an act of profound self-reclamation. You are finding the lost, wounded parts of yourself that have been crying out for your attention, parts that have been projecting their pain outward onto the screens of other people. By seeing this pattern, you can begin to heal it at its source. You can give yourself the validation, the freedom, or the acceptance you were futilely seeking from the outside world. As you commit to this practice, your relationships will transform. They cease to be arenas of conflict and unmet expectations, and they become sacred classrooms for your evolution. You stop trying to change, fix, or shatter the mirrors in your life. Instead, you begin to thank them for their unflinching clarity. You turn your attention away from the reflection and toward the one thing you have ever had the power to change: the beautiful, evolving, authentic face that is looking back. And as you practice this mirror work, you will begin to notice a recurring image, a persistent reflection of a person you thought you were, whose identity you have not yet fully released. These mirrors are showing you the old tight skin you are now ready to shed. Through the clarifying mirror of your relationships, you have begun to see yourself with a new honesty. You have witnessed your triggers, owned your reactions, and started to heal the inner wounds that others have so faithfully revealed. As you continue this work, a persistent image comes into focus in that mirror. It is the image of a person you used to be. It is the reflection of your former self, an identity constructed from the stories of your past, an old skin that has become too tight, too restrictive for the being you are becoming. The persistent discomfort you feel in your life is not a sign that you are broken. It is the sacred signal that you are ready to grow, and it is time to shed this skin. Think of your mind as a vast personal museum. From the moment you were born, you have been its self-appointed curator. You have carefully collected and arranged exhibits that define who you believe you are. There is the Hall of Grievances, a long, shadowed corridor where you have preserved every hurt, every betrayal, every moment you were wronged. You walk this hall often, polishing the glass cases, rereading the plaques, keeping the energy of those old pains alive and potent. Next to it is the Wing of Failures, a gallery filled with every mistake, every awkward moment, every time you felt you did not measure up. These displays serve as the evidence for your limiting beliefs, the proof you present to yourself for why you cannot risk, why you cannot dream, why you must play small. Even the sunlit rooms can be a prison. There is the Gallery of Past Triumphs, which houses the identity of the successful one, the strong one, the good child, or the survivor. We feel a deep obligation to maintain these exhibits, to keep playing these roles, terrified of what might happen if we let them go. We have become so identified with being the curator of this museum that we have forgotten a fundamental truth. You are not the collection of artifacts. You are the living, breathing consciousness walking through the halls. The ego clings to these stories with a desperate grip, even the most painful ones. Why? Because they provide a coherent narrative. They provide a script. If your story is, "I am the one who always gets left," you know how to play that role. You know what to expect from others. You know how to feel when it happens. You know your lines. The story, no matter how agonizing, feels safe in its predictability. It is a known prison. To let go of the story is to step into the unknown. If you are not the victim or the survivor, then who are you? This question terrifies the ego. The prospect of an undefined, unscripted existence feels like a void, an annihilation. It would rather be a clearly defined prisoner than a completely free, but undefined being. And so, it becomes addicted to its own limitations, compulsively rereading its own painful history to reinforce its own identity. This attachment to the story is the essence of being stuck. It is the tight, suffocating skin that prevents all further growth. Here is the truth that will set you free. You are not your story. You are the author. The past is not a life sentence. It is a reference library. You can choose to check out the same tragic book over and over, or you can leave it on the shelf and begin writing a new one today. Releasing the past does not mean you pretend it didn't happen. It does not mean you invalidate your own pain. It simply means you make a conscious, powerful choice to stop carrying its emotional weight into your present moment. It is the difference between having a scar and having a perpetually open wound. A scar is a memory that has been integrated. Its lesson is learned, and its pain is gone. An open wound is a story that is being kept alive, a trauma that is being relived every single day, infecting every new experience with its old poison. You have the power to let the wound finally close. You have the power to pick up the pen and begin a new chapter right now, whose title is My Healing, My Freedom, My Rebirth. To make this release not just an idea but a visceral reality, we engage in a sacred ritual. This is the practice of writing a letter of release to your former self. Set aside a time when you will not be disturbed. Create a space of intention. Light a candle, perhaps play some soft music. This is a ceremony of profound self-love. Take a pen and paper and address the letter to the part of you that you are ready to let go. You might write, "To the me who was afraid," or "To my survivor self," or "To the young man who was so deeply hurt." Begin the letter with gratitude and compassion. This is not a letter of condemnation. It is a letter of honor. Thank this former self. Thank it for its strength. Thank it for protecting you. Thank it for getting you through unimaginably difficult times with the tools and understanding it had available. Acknowledge its pain. Write down its struggles. Let it know that you see, finally, how much it was carrying. Let it feel seen and validated by you, its future self. Then, with love and gentle authority, you must write the words of release. Declare its service complete. You might write something like this: "Your watch is now over. I am so grateful for everything you have done, but I no longer require the armor you built. I no longer need the anger that protected you or the fear that kept you small. I release you from your duty. I am strong enough now to meet life with an open heart. Thank you. You are free to rest." Formally state your intention to step forward, to allow a new, more expansive, more authentic version of yourself to take the lead. When the letter is complete, the ritual is not yet over. Read it aloud. Let the vibration of your own voice speak these truths into the room. Give sound and power to this act of liberation. Then, in a safe place, set the letter on fire. As you watch the paper curl and turn to smoke and ash, hold a powerful visualization in your mind. See the old energy, the old identity, the weight of those stories dissolving. See it all being released from your cells, your mind, your spirit, returning to the universe as neutral energy, its lessons fully integrated, its heavy burden gone forever. You will be left with a feeling of profound lightness and perhaps a sense of tender vulnerability. This is natural. The snake, having just shed its skin, is raw and new. Its colors are more vibrant. Its senses are more acute. It moves with a freedom it had forgotten was possible. It is fully present, no longer constrained by the dull, tight armor of its past. You have created an empty space within you, a freshly tilled field, a clean slate. Into this new, open, and sacred space, we must now consciously invite a new resident frequency. We must fill this renewed soil with the most fertile, life-giving, and high vibrational energy known to consciousness, the master frequency of gratitude. You have walked through the fire of the forge, shedding the heavy, restrictive skin of your past. A new space has been created within you, a space of lightness, of potential, of raw and tender newness. The old, dense energies of past stories have been released. This new ground is fertile, but it is also empty. And into this sacred emptiness, we must consciously plant the most powerful, life-affirming, and reality-altering seed in the entire universe. We must learn to cultivate the master frequency of gratitude. We are not speaking here of the polite, perfunctory thank you of social convention. We are speaking of gratitude as a fundamental force of physics, a state of being that tunes your entire existence to the frequency of abundance. Imagine the universe as a grand radio tower, broadcasting on all possible frequencies simultaneously. There is a frequency for lack and sorrow. There is a frequency for anger and conflict. And there is a clear, strong, beautiful frequency for joy, for love, for miraculous synchronicity, and for boundless abundance. Your emotional state is the tuner on your personal radio. Your feelings are what determine which frequency you are receiving. For most of our lives, our tuner has been stuck on the frequency of scarcity. This is not your fault. It is a deep, primal programming. The human mind evolved for survival, and it developed a powerful negativity bias. It is hardwired to scan the horizon for threats, to identify problems, to focus on what is missing or what could go wrong. This kept our ancestors alive. In the modern world, this same mechanism keeps us in a perpetual state of dissatisfaction. We achieve a long-sought goal, and for a fleeting moment, we feel a sense of relief or happiness. Then, almost immediately, the mind's scanner turns back on. It asks, what's next? What's the next problem to solve? What is still lacking? We live our lives in this gap, this painful space between where we are and where we think we need to be to feel happy. This is the frequency of not enough. And when you consistently broadcast the signal of not enough, the universe, in its perfect, impersonal wisdom, dutifully mirrors that reality back to you, delivering more experiences that confirm your belief that you do not have enough. Gratitude is the conscious, deliberate act of overriding this default program. It is the act of seizing the tuner with your own hand and, with firm intention, turning the dial. This is the great secret that mystics and sages have taught for millennia. Gratitude is not the effect of a good life. It is the cause of it. You have been taught to believe that when you get the relationship, the job, or the healing, then you will feel grateful. The universe operates on the opposite principle. When you can generate the sincere feeling of gratitude now, for the life you already have, for the breath in your lungs, for the simple fact of your existence, you align your personal frequency with the universal frequency of abundance. And the law of resonance dictates that anything that is unlike that frequency must fall away, and everything that is like it must be drawn to you. Gratitude is the ultimate prayer, because it is a prayer that acknowledges that the gift has already been received. It is a statement of profound trust. It sends a powerful, coherent signal into the quantum field that says, I am cared for, I am supported, I have everything I need, I am whole. There is no pleading, no begging, no sense of lack in true gratitude. It is a declaration of fullness, and the universe, which is a perfect amplifier of your dominant energy, receives this declaration and responds with a resounding yes. And here is more to be grateful for. Think of gratitude as an active state of receiving. When you are in a state of complaint, worry, or criticism, your energy field is contracted. You are vibrationally closed off. It is like trying to catch rain in a closed fist. When you enter a state of genuine gratitude, your energy field expands. Your heart opens. You become a welcoming vessel, a wide-open basin ready to receive the blessings that are constantly showering down from the universe. Gratitude is the force that dissolves resistance. You cannot simultaneously feel sincere appreciation and a sense of lack. You cannot be truly grateful and truly fearful at the same time. The frequencies are mutually exclusive. Therefore, a daily, disciplined practice of gratitude is the most efficient way to dissolve the energetic blocks, the doubts, the fears, the feelings of unworthiness that have been preventing you from receiving the good you desire. This practice is simple in its form, but its power lies in its depth. It is the practice of the embodied gratitude journal. It is not enough to mechanically list things you are thankful for. The power is in the feeling. Each day, either upon waking to set a positive tone or before sleeping to reframe your experiences, take a dedicated notebook. Your task is to find 3 to 5 things for which you feel genuinely grateful. Begin with the small, the immediate, the sensory. Do not start with grand abstractions like my health or my family. Get specific. Instead of my home, write, the feeling of the warm, soft blankets on my bed this morning. Instead of my family, write, the sound of my friend's laughter on the phone today. Instead of my health, write, the simple pleasure of taking a deep, easy breath. This is where the magic happens. For each item you write, do not rush to the next. Pause, close your eyes, take a breath, and consciously transport yourself back to that moment. If it's the warm blankets, feel the warmth, the softness, the sense of safety and comfort. If it's your friend's laughter, hear it again in your mind's ear and let a smile touch your own lips. Your task is to resurrect the actual, physical, emotional sensation of gratitude in your body. Feel it swell in your chest. Feel a warmth spread through you. Anchor the feeling in your cells. A mental list is a powerless intellectual exercise. An embodied feeling is a vibrational command to the universe. This practice, performed with sincerity, will fundamentally repattern your reality. You are training your brain to scan for the good, reversing the negativity bias. You are elevating your baseline frequency, making you a vibrational match for more joy, more grace, and more ease. You are no longer passively listening to whatever static the world broadcasts on its frequency of fear. You have learned to consciously, deliberately, and skillfully turn the dial of your own being to the frequency where the beautiful music of life never stops playing. You are now grounded in this stable, coherent, high-frequency platform of gratitude. You are no longer just a receiver of the universe's broadcast. From this place of fullness and appreciation, you are ready to become a broadcaster yourself. You are ready to take the potent, creative energy of your being and learn to aim it with the focus and precision of a laser. You are now ready to explore the directive, creative power of focused intention. You are now standing on new ground. You have cleared the inner landscape, shed the skin of a former self, and tuned your being to the master frequency of gratitude. You have learned to be a gracious receiver of the universe's gifts. From this stable, high-frequency platform, a new possibility emerges. You are ready to graduate from simply receiving the broadcast to becoming a powerful transmitter. You are ready to consciously direct the flow of creation. This is the realm of intention. But we must first distinguish true intention from its weak and scattered cousin, desire. For most of your life, your creative energy has been like the light from a common light bulb, diffused, unfocused, shining in all directions at once, and therefore illuminating nothing with any real power. We are now going to learn how to gather that same light, focus it through the lens of a singular will, and transform it into a laser, a coherent beam of energy powerful enough to shape your reality. Let us first examine the state of scattered desire. This is the default mode of the untrained mind. It is a constant stream of I want, I wish, and I need. The mind wants more money, but a part of it also believes that wealth is corrupting. It wants a passionate, loving partner, but deep down, it carries the belief that it is unworthy of true intimacy. It wants creative freedom, but it also craves the security of a predictable routine. Look closely at this inner state. It is a mass of contradictions. Each desire is canceled out by a competing fear or limiting belief. From an energetic perspective, this is chaos. You are sending out a noisy, incoherent, garbled signal to the universe. You are asking for wealth with one breath and repelling it with the next. You are calling for love while simultaneously broadcasting a frequency of unworthiness. The universe, which is a perfect mirror of your energetic output, can only respond to this static by reflecting back a reality that is equally confusing, contradictory, and frustrating. This is the nature of wishful thinking. It is passive, hopeful, and ultimately powerless. True intention is an entirely different order of being. An intention is not a passive wish. It is an active, declarative, creative act. It is the conscious aiming of your life force. Where a wish says, I hope this happens, an intention states, I am calling this into being. An intention is singular, clear, and unwavering. It does not arise from the ego's fickle shopping list of wants. It emerges from the quiet, deep wisdom of your soul, the part of you that knows your true purpose. When you align with a true intention, it feels different in your body. It does not feel needy or desperate. It feels expansive, resonant, and calm. It feels like coming home to a truth you had forgotten. The most critical element of a powerful intention is that it must be launched from the high-frequency platform of gratitude you have already built. You cannot send a clear signal from a place of desperation or lack. An intention born of neediness is already contaminated with the frequency of not having. It is a laser beam with a faulty power source, flickering and weak. But an intention that is born from a state of gratitude is a statement of more of this, please. It is an extension of the fullness you already feel. It is a calm, confident declaration of what is now ready to unfold. This is the physics of a laser. The photons in a laser beam are described as coherent. They are all aligned, they all vibrate at the same frequency, and they all move in the same direction. A true intention does this for your consciousness. It aligns your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, and your gratitude into one focused, coherent, and unstoppable beam of creative energy. This is where your relationship with the universe transforms. The universe is not a cosmic butler responding to your demands. It is an intelligent, infinitely abundant field of potential that responds to clarity. It is your co-creative partner. When you send out scattered desires, you give the universe a messy, illegible blueprint. It does not know what to build. When you broadcast a clear, focused, emotionally charged intention, you are handing the universe a perfect architectural drawing. You are providing a precise, energetic matrix around which the unformed energy of the quantum field can begin to coalesce and organize. Your job is not to worry about how it will happen. Obsessing over the how is the fastest way to introduce doubt and fear, which immediately defocuses your laser beam. The universe, with its infinitely complex and intelligent web of connections, will handle the how. It will orchestrate the synchronicities, the opportunities, and the chance encounters. Your job is to hold the vision of the what with unwavering faith, and to fuel it with the power of the why. The creation of this blueprint is a sacred practice. It is the act of forging your intention statement. First, you must get quiet. You cannot hear the soul's desire in the midst of chaos. Enter a state of meditation or deep gratitude. Place your hand on your heart and ask your higher self, what experience is for my highest good to create now? What is my soul ready to call into being? Listen for the answer that feels expansive and true. Next, articulate this desire as a single, clear, and concise statement. Write it down. The act of writing brings it from the ethereal realm into the physical. Then, you must frame it with power. It must be written in the present tense, as if it is already so, and it must be stated positively. You do not intend for what you want to get away from. You intend for what you are moving toward. So, instead of "I want to get out of debt," your intention becomes, "I am living a life of financial freedom and joyful abundance." Instead of "I don't want to be sick anymore," your intention becomes, "I am radiantly healthy and my body is a perfect expression of vitality and well-being." The final and most crucial step is to charge this statement with the power of emotion. A blueprint without electricity is just a piece of paper. The feeling is the electricity. Read your intention statement aloud. As you speak the words, do not let them be empty. Inhabit them. Feel, in your body, what it would feel like to be living that reality right now. Feel the freedom of financial abundance. Feel the vitality of radiant health. Feel the joy of creative expression. Let this feeling saturate every cell of your being. This embodied emotion is what powers your laser. It is the fuel that sends your intention out into the field with irresistible magnetic force. You have now graduated from being a scattered light bulb to a coherent laser, capable of directing your energy with precision and purpose. You have given the universe your clear and unambiguous command, but a blueprint, no matter how precise, and a laser, no matter how powerful, are only the first steps. The next and most magical stage of creation is to move from the mind's intention to the body's absolute conviction. We must now learn the secret architecture of feeling our reality into existence before it has ever appeared to our physical eyes. You have forged a clear and powerful intention, transforming the scattered light of your desires into a coherent laser beam aimed at the reality you choose to create. You have delivered your blueprint to the master architect of the universe. Now we arrive at the most subtle, the most magical, and the most misunderstood phase of creation. We must move beyond the intellect of intention and into the profound wisdom of the body. For a blueprint, no matter how precise, is merely a drawing on a page. The secret to bringing it to life is to inhabit the building before a single physical brick has been laid. This is the architecture of feeling. This is where you stop chasing your desire and you start living from its fulfillment. Let us first examine the flawed model of creation that has kept humanity trapped in a state of perpetual striving. The logical, linear mind believes that creation works like this. First, I must perform the difficult action, A, which will then lead to the desired result, B, and only then will I allow myself to have the desired feeling, C. For example, first I must work tirelessly and sacrifice, A, then I will achieve financial success, B, and only then will I finally feel secure and free, C. On the surface, this seems rational, but from a vibrational perspective, it is a recipe for failure. Why? Because you spend the entirety of your creative process marinating in the energy of state eighth, energy of struggle, of sacrifice, of not having it yet. You are broadcasting the frequency of lack, and the universe, in its perfect loyalty to your signal, continues to give you more circumstances that require struggle and sacrifice. The feeling of freedom you desire remains a distant destination, a conditional prize you may never reach. The quantum law of creation, the principle used by the universe itself, operates in precisely the reverse order. It is not A, B, C, it is C, A, B. First, you must embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled. C, you must, through the power of your focused imagination, generate the feeling of security and freedom in your body now, without any external evidence to support it. From this high-frequency state of being, you will be divinely inspired to take the correct, effortless, and joyful actions, A. And these aligned actions will then lead, inevitably and often surprisingly, to the full physical manifestation of your desire, B. This is the quantum leap. Feeling is not the effect, feeling is the cause. You do not wait for your reality to change to feel good. You feel good to change your reality. This is the ultimate act of faith, an act that defies the logic of the five senses. Your senses will report back to you on what is. They will show you the current bank balance, the current state of your health, the current relationship status. Your creative power lies in your ability to withdraw your attention from what is and place it entirely on what you are becoming. You must become so absorbed in the feeling of your new reality that the current reality begins to feel like the old dream, and the inner dream begins to feel like the true reality. Your feeling state is your vibrational signature. When you feel wealthy, you are wealthy on an energetic level. When you feel healthy, you are healthy on an energetic level. You must first become a vibrational match to your desire, and then, by the infallible law of resonance, your desire has no choice but to find its way to you in the physical world. This leads us to the most profound truth of creation. The universe does not bring you what you want, it brings you who you are. Wanting is a declaration of absence. Being is a declaration of presence. Stop focusing your energy on getting the thing, the relationship, the money, the home. That is the old paradigm. Instead, focus your energy on being the person who already has it. Ask yourself, who is the version of me that is living in that beautiful home? What is their dominant emotional state? It is likely not frantic or needy. It is probably calm, peaceful, grateful, and secure. That feeling state, right there, is your true creative work. Your job is to cultivate and live from that state of being now. The house, the external manifestation, is merely the natural, secondary echo of the inner reality you have succeeded in creating. We have been so focused on rearranging the shadows on the wall that we have forgotten our power to simply turn our own body toward the light. The practice for this is an immersive journey inward, a scripting of the soul. It is the art of living from the end. In a quiet, meditative state, you will construct a short, simple scene in your imagination, a scene that would only happen after your desire has been fulfilled. Do not imagine the moment of getting it, that is filled with the energy of transition. Imagine a moment of casually living it. For example, if your desire is a loving partner, do not imagine the wedding. Imagine a simple, mundane moment months later. You are sitting together on a quiet evening, your hands intertwined, feeling a profound sense of peace and companionship. If your desire is financial freedom, do not imagine winning the lottery. Imagine a calm conversation with a friend where you casually mention, with a feeling of deep relief and gratitude, how wonderful it is not to worry about money anymore. Choose your scene. Now, step into it with all of your senses. What do you see with your inner eye? Look around the room. What colors are there? What objects? What sounds do you hear? Is there music, conversation, silence? Are there any smells in the air? The scent of coffee, a perfume? Most importantly, touch something. Feel the texture of the fabric on the chair, the warmth of the mug in your hands, the feeling of another's hand in yours. Make it as real and as sensory as possible. Now, the final and most critical step. As you are living in this fully realized scene, ask yourself the ultimate question: how does this feel? Let the feeling emerge. Is it peace? Is it relief? Is it joy? Is it a quiet sense of rightness? Whatever the feeling is, let it saturate you. Do not just observe it, become it. Breathe it into your heart. Let it fill your entire body until you are vibrating with the unmistakable frequency of the wish fulfilled. This feeling is the prayer that has already been answered. This feeling is the reality you are impressing upon the formless substance of the universe. Marinate in this feeling for as long as you can. When you open your eyes and come back to your current surroundings, your work is to carry the perfume of that feeling with you. Let it be the secret you hold in your heart throughout the day. You have now walked through the rooms of your creation. You have felt the sunlight on your face and heard the joyful echoes in its halls. In the world of energy, which is the only world that truly matters for creation, the building is already complete. Now that the energetic structure is finished, the universe will begin its logistical work of delivering the physical materials to your doorstep. An unexpected idea, a synchronistic phone call, a chance meeting. But this brings with it a new and surprising challenge. Do you have the courage to open the door and receive the very gifts you have ordered? You have entered the inner sanctum of creation. You have moved beyond mere hope, beyond focused intention, and into the vibrant, living reality of the wish fulfilled. You have walked the halls of your new reality in your imagination. You have felt its emotional resonance in your very cells, and you have impressed this perfect blueprint upon the mind of the universe. The energetic work is complete. Your order has been placed, and the universe, which is nothing if not a faithful and immediate servant to a clear, coherent signal, begins its process of delivery. This is where we encounter the final, and often most surprising, obstacle on the path: the profound challenge of simply receiving. The universal delivery system does not operate like a package delivery service that leaves a large, obvious box on your front porch. It is infinitely more subtle, intelligent, and elegant. It delivers not the final product all at once, but rather the perfect sequence of components and opportunities that will lead you to it. It speaks to you in a language of whispers and winks. The delivery may arrive as a sudden, inspired idea that pops into your mind while you are showering. An idea that feels exciting, expansive, and slightly illogical. It may come as a synchronicity overhearing a stranger's conversation that contains the exact answer to a question you have been pondering, or seeing the same sequence of numbers everywhere you go, a gentle nudge confirming you are on the right path. Most directly, it will arrive as an opportunity, an unexpected email, a chance encounter with a person from your past, an invitation to an event you would normally dismiss. These are not random occurrences. These are the bricks and mortar of your new reality, arriving for assembly. They are the universe knocking on your door. The great question is, when you hear the knock, will you answer it? Here we face a deeply human paradox. After all the work of clarifying our desires and aligning our energy, when the very thing we have been asking for begins to appear, our first instinct is often to hide, to deny, or to push it away. We are, in many ways, more comfortable with the familiar ache of wanting than with the vulnerable expansion of having. This resistance is rooted in the oldest and most powerful programs of the ego. The first and most common block is the deep-seated feeling of unworthiness. The opportunity arrives, and the immediate inner response is, "This is too good to be true," or "I don't deserve this," or "Who am I to have such good fortune?" This feeling of unworthiness is a dense, low-frequency static that jams the signal of receiving. You have sent a beautiful, clear order to the universe, and the universe has sent a beautiful, clear response, but you are effectively refusing the delivery at the door because you don't believe you are worthy of the gift. The second block is the fear of change. To receive the new desire, the new relationship, the new career, the new state of being means you must leave the old one behind. That old reality, even if it was a source of pain and frustration, was known. It was familiar. Its miseries were predictable. A new reality, even a wonderful one, is unknown territory. The ego is terrified of the unknown, and so it will unconsciously sabotage the new opportunity in order to remain in the familiar comfort of its old cage. The third block is the subtle but potent fear of loss. The ego reasons, if I allow myself to truly have this wonderful thing, to truly love this person, to truly enjoy this success, the pain of eventually losing it would be unbearable. It is safer not to have it at all. And so you hold your own desires at arm's length. You receive the gift but refuse to unwrap it, to protect your heart from a future, imagined pain, thereby guaranteeing your own present-day lack. The core message that dissolves these blocks is a truth so simple and so absolute that the ego struggles to accept it. Your worthiness is not in question. It is not something you earn through good deeds, hard work, or righteous struggle. Your worthiness is inherent. It is your birthright. You are worthy of all the love, all the joy, and all the abundance the universe has to offer simply because you exist. You are a unique, irreplaceable expression of life itself, and the entire universe conspires to support you. To receive is not a selfish act. It is your essential role in the cosmic dance of giving and taking. The universe desires to give, to express its own abundance through you. By refusing to receive, you are not being humble. You are constipating the flow of universal grace. To open your arms and receive with joy is to say yes to life. It is a skill, a spiritual muscle that has atrophied from disuse, and it must be consciously retrained. The practice of developing this muscle begins with small, daily acts of opening. Start with compliments. The next time someone offers you a genuine compliment, notice your instinct to deflect or minimize it. Resist that urge. Pause, take a breath, look the person in the eye, and give them the gift of your full reception. Say a simple, heartfelt thank you, and allow the positive energy of their words to truly land in your heart. Feel it. Absorb it. Next, become a connoisseur of synchronicity. When the universe sends you one of its winks, you're thinking of a song and it immediately plays on the radio. You're wondering about a problem, and the solution appears on a billboard. Do not dismiss it as mere coincidence. Acknowledge it. Smile. say a quiet thank you to the universe for the sign. This creates a feedback loop. You are signaling that you are listening, that you are paying attention, and you are ready for more guidance. Finally, practice saying yes. When a small, unexpected opportunity appears, that feels aligned with your intention, but also brings up a flicker of fear or inconvenience. Practice saying yes before your logical mind has a chance to build a case against it. This doesn't mean acting recklessly, but it does mean learning to trust the invitations of the universal flow more than the fears of your conditioned ego. Each small yes builds your capacity for a larger yes. When the truly life-changing opportunities arrive, you are no longer hiding from the knock at the door, peering through the curtains, pretending not to be home. You are learning to swing the door wide open with a smile on your face and gratitude in your heart, ready to welcome the very gifts you have so lovingly called forth into your life. Receiving a gift, however, is one thing. Maintaining a home, a life, a state of being that is worthy of such continuing gifts is another. This new, high-frequency state of co-creation and reception is not a one-time achievement to be won, but a living, breathing reality that must be consciously tended to and protected every single day. We must now turn our attention from the act of receiving to the crucial and ongoing art of maintaining this elevated state through the discipline of vibrational hygiene. You have learned to open the door and receive the gifts of the universe. The joy of this reception, the thrill of seeing your inner work manifest in the outer world, is a peak experience. But a peak is, by its nature, a temporary state if the mountain itself is not stable. The great challenge now is to transform this peak experience into a new, elevated plateau of daily existence. This cannot be left to chance. It requires the conscious, loving application of discipline. We must now address the crucial art of vibrational hygiene, the daily practice that ensures the temple you have so lovingly built remains a clean, sacred, and high-frequency space. The universe, like all of nature, tends toward a state of homeostasis. Your own being is a creature of habit. For years, perhaps for decades, your nervous system, your cellular memory, and your thought patterns have been accustomed to a certain energetic baseline. Perhaps it was a baseline of low-grade anxiety, of cynical realism, of striving and struggle. This baseline, no matter how uncomfortable, became your normal. It became your energetic home. Now, through your dedicated inner work, you have experienced a breakthrough. You have tasted the 10 out of 10 frequency of joy, flow, and synchronicity. But your system, in its deep-seated desire for what is familiar, will register this new, elevated state as an anomaly. And it will begin to exert a powerful, subconscious gravitational pull to bring you back down to your old, familiar normal. This is why, so often, after a profound spiritual retreat, a powerful therapy session, or a moment of blissful insight, we find ourselves crashing a few days later. An old negative thought pattern resurfaces with a vengeance. We get triggered by a minor irritation. We fall back into the easy, numbing habit of mindless scrolling or emotional eating. We then judge ourselves for this, believing we have failed, that the breakthrough wasn't real. But this is not a failure. It is the predictable gravitational pull of your past. Recognizing this pull for what it is on impersonal energetic tendencies, the first step to overcoming it. You are not failing. You are simply feeling the undertow of your old reality. Vibrational hygiene is the act of consciously and consistently swimming against this current until the new, higher state becomes your new, familiar home. We must immediately reframe our relationship with the word discipline. We have been taught to associate it with punishment, with harsh restriction, with the denial of freedom. This is a profound misunderstanding. The discipline we are speaking of here is not born of a desire to punish, but from a desire to protect something precious. It is the loving framework you build around your newfound peace. It is the ultimate act of self-respect. Think of a master musician. They are free to create beautiful music precisely because they have subjected themselves to the daily discipline of practicing their scales. The discipline did not restrict their freedom, it created it. The ego believes freedom is the ability to do whatever it wants in any given moment, to follow every whim, to indulge every craving. This is a false freedom that leads directly to slavery. Slavery to your moods, your addictions, and your lowest impulses. True freedom is the freedom from being a slave to those impulses. It is the ability to choose your response rather than being dictated to by a passing craving or a fleeting emotion. This higher freedom is not a gift, it is an accomplishment, and it is built, moment by moment, on a foundation of loving, conscious discipline. This discipline builds the strong banks of the river, allowing the powerful water of your life to flow with purpose and direction, rather than spilling out aimlessly and creating a swamp. Your entire being, your mind, your body, your energy field is a living temple. Vibrational hygiene is the daily devoted work of being its keeper. The practice of gratitude is the act of placing fresh flowers on the altar each morning. The practice of conscious breathing is the act of opening the great windows to let in fresh air and sunlight. The practice of meditation is the act of sweeping the floors, clearing away the mental dust that has settled overnight. Your commitment to conscious consumption is the act of being a vigilant guardian at the temple gate, ensuring that only pure and worthy offerings are brought inside. This is not a list of chores. This is a ritual of sanctification. To neglect this daily practice is to allow your sacred space to become dusty, cluttered, and dim. Its resonant beauty slowly obscured by the cares of the world. The most potent way to implement this is to consecrate the first moments of your day. The first hour of your morning is the rudder that steers the rest of your day. Before you give your energy to the world, to your phone, to your email, to the news, you must first give it to yourself and to your connection with Source. Create a simple, non-negotiable morning ritual. It need not be long. Consistency is infinitely more powerful than intensity. A dedicated 15 minutes each morning will change your life more than a heroic 2-hour session once a month. Design your own ritual from the menu of practices you have learned. You might choose to combine 2 or 3. Perhaps your ritual looks like this. You wake, and before your feet hit the floor, you spend 5 minutes on the square breathing technique, centering your mind and calming your nervous system. Then, you reach for your gratitude journal and write down 3 specific things that fill you with appreciation, taking the time to truly feel the emotion. Finally, you stand. Read your intention statement aloud with power and conviction, and visualize your day unfolding with grace and ease. This entire ritual may take no more than 15 minutes, but its effect is monumental. You have deliberately chosen your frequency before the world has had a chance to choose it for you. You have calibrated your instrument, you have swept your temple. You have entered the day not in a state of reaction, but from a place of centered, intentional power. You are no longer just a visitor to your own sacred temple. You have fully accepted your role as its devoted keeper, ensuring its holy light remains bright, clear, and steady, day after day. With this disciplined practice in place, you have built a sturdy and powerful vessel. You have learned how to clean it, how to fuel it, and how to aim it. You have become a skilled captain of your own energy. Now, you must learn the final, most graceful art of the master navigator, how to set your course with perfect clarity, and then, with absolute and radical trust, to release your vessel to the wise and mighty currents of the infinite ocean. You have become a master of your inner world. Through the loving application of discipline, you have learned to tend to your sacred temple, to keep its fires bright and its halls clear. You have forged your intention into a coherent beam of light and learned to inhabit the feeling of your wish already fulfilled. You stand now as the capable captain of a powerful, well-maintained vessel, your destination programmed with unshakable clarity. And it is here, at the peak of your conscious power, that you must learn the final, most graceful, and most paradoxical art of creation. The art of letting go of the wheel. You must learn to surrender your magnificent ship to the vast, intelligent, and benevolent currents of the infinite ocean. This is, perhaps, the most difficult step of all, for it goes against every instinct of the egoic mind. The ego is a brilliant strategist, a master of logistics, and a compulsive micromanager. Having defined the destination, its immediate impulse is to plot the entire course. It wants to know the how. It pulls out its old, worn maps drawn entirely from your past experiences, and it begins to calculate. Okay, it reasons. To get to financial freedom, I must first take this job, then get this promotion, then work these overtime hours, then invest in this specific way. It creates a rigid, linear, step-by-step plan based on the limited data it possesses. This, it believes, is control. This, it believes, is how you make things happen. But this is not control. It is a cage. By obsessing over the how, you are placing a profound limitation on the creative genius of the universe. Your ego's plan is based only on what has been. The universe operates from a field of infinite possibility, seeing pathways and connections that are utterly invisible to you. It may see a shortcut, a more joyful route, a more elegant solution that your logical mind could never conceive. When you insist on your own rigid plan, you are effectively telling the master architect of the cosmos, "Thank you for your infinite wisdom, but I'd rather use my own elementary school ruler to build this skyscraper." Your attachment to the how becomes the very resistance that slows your vessel, that forces it to take the long, arduous route, or that runs it aground on the shores of frustration when your limited plan inevitably fails to unfold as you predicted. Herein lies the sacred partnership, the divine division of labor in the act of creation. Your role is precise and powerful. Your job is to be the unwavering architect of the what. You must hold the vision of the end result with absolute clarity. Your second job is to be the vibrant generator of the why. You must feel, with every cell of your being, the elevated emotions of the wish fulfilled, the joy, the gratitude, the peace. The what is your blueprint. The why is your energetic signature. That is the extent of your work. The how is not your department. The how is the exclusive domain of the universe. The universe is the master logistician, the silent weaver of the cosmic tapestry. When you hand over a clear blueprint charged with powerful emotion, you are placing an order with the cosmic kitchen. Your work is to place the order with clarity and then to sit back in a state of joyful, trusting anticipation, knowing that the master chef is now assembling the finest ingredients in the most magical way. To run into the kitchen and tell the chef how to chop the vegetables or which pan to use is not only insulting, it disrupts the entire creative process. You must trust the chef. You must trust the process. Think of your intention as a seed you have planted. You have chosen the seed with care. You have found the perfect spot in the garden of your mind, and you have planted it in the fertile soil of gratitude. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the water and the sunlight you provide. Now, what is your work? Is it to dig up the seed every hour to see if it is sprouting? Is it to anxiously analyze the soil chemistry and worry about the angle of the sun, number? To do so would be to kill the very life you are trying to cultivate. Your work is to faithfully water and provide light, and then to trust the unseen, miraculous process of germination that is happening in the darkness beneath the surface. You must let go and allow nature to do its work. Your how is your attempt to dig up the seed. Surrender is your trust in the miracle of growth. We must redefine this word, surrender. In the language of the ego, to surrender is to give up, to admit defeat. In the language of the spirit, to surrender is the ultimate act of power. It is an expression of profound trust in a higher intelligence. It is not passivity. It is the wisdom of moving from a state of force to a state of flow. It is the difference between trying to row your boat furiously against the current and having the wisdom to hoist your sail and allow the magnificent power of the wind to carry you effortlessly toward your destination. You are not giving up your destination. You are simply letting go of the exhausting, inefficient effort of rowing and instead choosing to partner with an infinite power. The practice for this is a conscious, sacred ritual of release. After you have done your work, after you have felt the gratitude, clarified your intention, and embodied the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you must perform this final, crucial step. You can speak it aloud or hold it as a deep knowing in your heart. You say to the universe, "This is my desire. I have made my choice, and now I release the how completely to you. I surrender my timeline. I surrender my attachment to the specific form this will take. I trust your infinite intelligence to orchestrate the perfect unfolding for my highest good. This, or something even better, now manifests with grace and ease. And so it is." That phrase, "this, or something even better," is your master key to freedom. It dissolves the ego's rigid attachment to a single outcome and opens the door for the universe to delight and surprise you, to deliver a reality more magnificent than your limited mind could even imagine. Having performed this release, your only work is to remain in a state of alert, joyful peace, watching for the signs, listening for the whispers, and being ready to take the inspired, effortless action when the universe presents it. You no longer fight the river of life. You have become one with its powerful, intelligent current, knowing with a calm certainty that it is carrying you home. You have stepped out of your own way, and in this state of graceful, trusting flow, you can begin to perceive the subtle but perfect laws that govern this entire ocean of existence, starting with the elegant, impersonal, and unerring law of energetic feedback that we call karma. As you learn to navigate your life with this blend of focused intention and graceful surrender, you begin to perceive the underlying intelligence that governs the flow. You notice that the ocean of life is not a random chaos of waves and currents. It operates according to precise, elegant, and utterly impersonal laws. The most fundamental of these is the law of energetic cause and effect, a principle that has been shrouded in mystery and fear under the ancient name of karma. We must now strip away the centuries of superstition from this word and see it for what it truly is, not a system of cosmic punishment, but a perfect, neutral, and deeply empowering feedback system designed to guide you back to wholeness. For too long, our understanding of karma has been fear-based. We have envisioned a great celestial ledger, where a divine scorekeeper tallies our good and bad deeds. We have been taught to fear retribution for sins committed in lives we cannot remember, and to see our present-day suffering as a punishment, a cosmic sentence to be served. This interpretation, while born from a genuine attempt to make sense of suffering, is profoundly disempowering. It casts you in the role of a helpless debtor, paying for an unknown crime. It makes you a victim of a distant, unforgiving past. It forces you to look outside of yourself for the source of your pain and your problems. This old story of karma is a chain binding you to a cycle of guilt, fear, and powerlessness. It is time to respectfully lay this story to rest. Let us replace it with a new understanding, one rooted not in mythology, but in the simple physics of energy. Karma is the law of resonance, playing out over the canvas of time. It is the universe's echo. It is as neutral and as reliable as the law of gravity. The principle is this: every single thought you think, every word you speak, and every action you take emits a specific vibrational frequency. This is your energetic broadcast. This signature of energy does not simply vanish. It radiates outward from you into the quantum field, where it interacts with and gathers more energy of a like-kind frequency. And then, by an infallible law of the cosmos, it returns to its point of origin. It returns to you. It does not return as a reward for being good or a punishment for being bad. The universe has no concept of good or bad. It deals only in resonance. The energy returns to you in the form of a corresponding life circumstance. If you consistently broadcast the frequency of judgment and criticism towards others, the energy you receive back will be shaped into circumstances where you feel judged and criticized. If you harbor a deep-seated energy of scarcity, a constant fear that there is not enough, the karmic echo will manifest as job losses, unexpected bills, and a reality that perfectly validates your fear of lack. Conversely, if you consciously and consistently broadcast the frequency of genuine kindness, generosity, and compassion, the returning wave of energy will form itself into a life filled with helpful people, unexpected gifts, and supportive opportunities. The universe is not judging your actions. It is simply matching your frequency. The world you experience is a perfect mirror of the energy you project. This understanding is the ultimate key to your sovereignty. It is the complete dissolution of all victimhood. If karma is simply an echo, then you are the one making the original sound. If your life is a mirror, then you are the one standing before it. Nothing is happening to you. Everything is happening as a direct, energetic response from you. Your current life circumstances are a perfect, real-time feedback report on your dominant vibrational output. This realization can be jarring at first. The ego will resist it, for it means taking absolute responsibility for every aspect of your life. But beneath the initial shock is the most liberating truth you will ever encounter. If you are the source of the broadcast, you have the power to change it. At any moment, you can stop asking the powerless question, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking the powerful, creative question, "What energy am I broadcasting that is co-creating this reality?" This shifts you from being a pawn of fate to being the master of your energetic destiny. It is not a burden of blame. It is the glorious freedom of responsibility. The practice, then, is to become a conscious broadcaster. You are already transmitting energy every moment of every day. The work is to do it deliberately. Before you speak, before you act, before you allow yourself to spiral down a familiar negative thought loop, you must begin to practice the sacred pause. In that pause, you ask yourself, what is the vibrational signature of the energy I am about to emit? Is this thought born of love or fear? Is this word an expression of compassion or judgment? Is this action rooted in abundance or scarcity? You begin to choose your broadcast with the care of a radio operator sending a vital message, because you understand, finally, that this message will absolutely, without fail, return to you as your future reality. A powerful way to proactively shape your future karmic feedback is to practice anonymous, unconditional acts of kindness. When you do something kind for another without any expectation of recognition, reward, or even a thank you, you are sending out one of the purest, highest frequency signals possible. It is a broadcast of unconditional love and a declaration of your own abundancy, a statement that you have so much that you can freely give without needing anything in return. Let someone go ahead of you in line. Leave a generous tip. Pay a genuine compliment to a stranger. Send a silent wave of love and healing to someone you see who is struggling. These small, seemingly insignificant acts are potent karmic seeds. They are clear, beautiful notes sent out into the canyon of the universe, and the echo that returns will be music to your ears. You no longer need to fear the echo. You have learned to love it, for it is your most honest and faithful teacher. It is the universe's way of lovingly showing you the quality of your own song. You have learned that to create a beautiful echo, you must first make a beautiful sound. And as you practice this, you begin to realize that your personal broadcast, your unique and beautiful note, does not simply echo back to you in isolation. It travels outward, joining and harmonizing with every other note being played on the planet. You are not a solo instrument in a silent canyon. You are a vital and indispensable member of a vast and interconnected cosmic symphony. You have learned to hear the echo of your own energy, to take responsibility for the sound you create in the canyon of your life. You have come to understand karma not as a cosmic judge, but as a perfect and impersonal mirror. Now, we must zoom out our perspective. We must come to realize that the canyon is not empty. It is filled with the echoes of billions of other souls. Your personal broadcast does not simply return to you in a vacuum. It ripples outward, interacting, mingling, and harmonizing with every other frequency being emitted on this planet. You are not a solo instrument playing to an empty hall. You are a vital, indispensable musician in the grand and complex symphony of the collective. This realization often gives rise to a feeling of profound insignificance. We turn on the news, we scroll through our feeds, and we are confronted with the overwhelming dissonance of the world, the roars of conflict, the cries of suffering, the grating static of fear and division. Faced with this global orchestra of chaos, the sound of our own single instrument can feel hopelessly small and meaningless. The logical mind calculates the odds and concludes that our quiet note of peace is instantly drowned out, that our single flicker of light is meaningless in such a vast darkness. This belief leads to a state of spiritual despair. It convinces us that the only rational response is to give up, to retreat into the shell of our own small life and ignore the world, or to join the cacophony, fighting anger with more anger, meeting division with more division. But this perspective is based on a misunderstanding of energetic physics. The collective consciousness is a real and tangible field of energy, the sum total of every thought, feeling, and belief held by humanity. Think of it as a great pond. Every individual consciousness is like a point on the surface of this pond. A thought of fear or hate is a jagged stone thrown in, creating chaotic, jarring ripples that spread outwards. A thought of pure love or peace is like a single, perfect drop of water, creating smooth, coherent, harmonious ripples. Now, a single chaotic ripple can disturb a large area, but a coherent, harmonious ripple has a power that is exponentially greater. It has an organizing influence. As a coherent wave of peace expands, it has the capacity to smooth out and calm the frantic, chaotic waves it encounters. This is the principle of entrainment, where a powerful, stable rhythm can cause less powerful, unstable rhythms to synchronize with it. A single person holding a steady, high frequency of love, peace, or joy is not just adding one more positive unit to the whole. They are acting as a vibrational tuning fork for the collective. Their coherent energy field has a subtle but profound organizing effect on the chaotic energy fields around them. Your steady light is not fighting the darkness. It is showing the darkness the possibility of becoming light. This is the true meaning behind the timeless wisdom. Be the change you wish to see in the world. It is not just a call to ethical action, it is a directive for vibrational activism. Your primary contribution to world peace is your own inner peace. Your most potent offering to heal the world's suffering is to heal your own. Your greatest act of service is to meticulously and relentlessly tend to your own frequency. To become an unwavering island of coherence in a sea of dissonance is not a selfish or passive act. It is the most radical and effective form of world-changing there is. You are not responsible for calming the entire storm. You are responsible for becoming the calm, unshakable eye of the storm. From that place of centered power, your influence radiates outward effortlessly. The practice for this is not one of doing, but of being and radiating. It is a meditation that allows you to consciously participate in the healing of the collective. First, you must do your own inner work. Use the tools you have learned to find your own center, to cultivate that high-frequency state of gratitude, peace, or unconditional love. Fill your own cup until it is overflowing. You cannot radiate what you do not possess. Once you are filled with this beautiful, coherent energy, begin to visualize it radiating from your heart as a warm, golden light. First, allow this light to fill your own body, from the tips of your toes to the crown of your head, healing and harmonizing every cell. Then, allow it to expand outward, filling the room you are in. See this light touching every object, imbuing the very space with its peaceful frequency. Now, expand the radius further. Let the golden light of your peace flow out from your home, covering your entire neighborhood, See it soothing agitated minds, calming stressful households, and creating a silent bubble of grace. Continue to expand it, letting it grow to encompass your entire city, your country. See this light flowing into hospitals, government buildings, schools, and offices, offering a frequency of healing, wisdom, and compassion. Finally, hold the image of our beautiful blue-green planet in your mind's eye. From your heart, send this infinite stream of golden light to envelop the entire world. Do not focus on specific problems or try to fix anything. That is the ego's way. Simply bathe the planet in the unconditional frequency of love and peace. See the light sinking into the areas of greatest darkness, not as an invading force, but as a gentle rain, offering nourishment and a higher possibility. Hold this vision for as long as feels right. You are not trying to impose your will on the world. You are simply making a powerful, coherent, high-frequency broadcast available to the collective field. You are adding your note, your perfect, clear tone, to the symphony. You must release the need to see the results of this work. Its effects are subtle and often unseen, yet they are profound. You have shifted from a state of helplessness to a state of quiet, powerful influence. You have understood that you are not merely a drop in the ocean, but the entire ocean in a single drop. You have tuned your instrument with care and are now playing your part in the symphony with clarity and love. You may not be able to hear the entire orchestral piece from your seat, but you hold an unshakable trust that your note is essential to its final, magnificent beauty. But to play your note with true authenticity, with unwavering power, you cannot only play the easy, harmonious melodies. You must now turn inward and face the dissonant chords within yourself, the notes you have tried to hide, deny, or ignore. You must learn to courageously embrace your own shadow. You have learned to play your note in the great symphony of the collective, adding your unique frequency of peace and love to the whole. This is a profound service. But to ensure that the note you play is not a shallow, fragile melody, but one of rich, authentic, and unwavering power, you must undertake the most courageous journey of all. You must turn away from the heavens and descend into the deep, hidden underworld of your own being. You must be willing to face, to understand, and to embrace your own shadow. The shadow is the part of you that you have disowned. It is a psychological bag into which you have stuffed every aspect of your personality that you, your family, or your society deemed unacceptable. It is your rage, your greed, your envy, your vulnerability, your untamed sexuality, your selfish ambition. Early in life, you learned that to be loved and to be safe, you had to be good. So you took these bad parts of yourself, these messy, inconvenient, powerful energies, and you locked them in the basement of your unconscious. But they did not die there. They grew, and they have been influencing your life ever since. These exiled parts of you do not simply lie dormant. They live, and they seek the light. They leak out sideways in the form of sarcastic remarks, sudden, inexplicable moods, and patterns of self-sabotage that your conscious mind cannot understand. Most powerfully, your shadow projects itself outward. As you learned in the mirror of relationships, the people who trigger you with the most intense, irrational anger or judgment are often living out a trait that you have repressed in yourself. The intense irritation you feel at someone's perceived arrogance is the cry of your own disowned confidence. The searing judgment you feel towards another's laziness is often the protest of your own exhausted, unacknowledged need for rest. Your shadow is constantly trying to get your attention by pointing its finger at the world around you. The spiritual ego, in particular, has a desperate need to deny its own shadow. It desires to see itself as pure, enlightened, peaceful, and above such lower vibrations. This creates a painful and exhausting internal war. When a surge of intense jealousy or a flash of white-hot rage erupts from the basement, the spiritual ego is horrified. This shouldn't be happening. It cries, "I've meditated. I practice gratitude. I am a loving person." This creates a cycle of shame and suppression. You try to pray the shadow away, meditate it away, or cover it with a thick blanket of positive affirmations. But this is like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. It takes enormous, constant effort, and the moment your vigilance slips, the shadow erupts to the surface with even greater force. This futile internal battle is the source of immense spiritual fatigue. It is an integrity gap, and it prevents you from ever becoming truly whole. Here we find the great transformative secret of alchemy. The path to the light lies directly through the darkness. Your shadow is not an evil monster to be slain. It is a collection of your own wounded, abandoned life force. It is not your enemy, it is your exiled kin. The rage you have suppressed is a fierce guardian that was born to protect a part of you that felt powerless and violated. The greed you have denied is the distorted cry of an inner self that feels fundamentally empty and undeserving. The envy you despise is a signpost pointing directly to what your soul truly desires. The power of the shadow comes from its hiddenness. Its poison comes from its repression. The moment you turn to face it, to bring it into the light of your own conscious, loving awareness, its nature begins to change. You do not destroy it, you transmute it. You reclaim the immense life force that has been trapped within it. The raw, chaotic power of rage, when integrated, becomes the clear, calm strength of healthy boundaries. The desperate drive of envy becomes the clean, focused fuel for your own highest aspirations. This is not about eliminating the shadow, it is about integrating it, and in doing so, becoming whole for the first time. This sacred work requires immense courage. It is a practice of radical self-inquiry. When you feel a powerful negative shadow energy arise, your new practice is not to suppress it or to act it out unconsciously. Your practice is to welcome it. Pause, take a breath. Acknowledge its presence as if it were a visitor who has just knocked on your door. You might say internally, "Hello, rage. I see you are here. I am willing to listen." Find a quiet moment and begin a dialogue. You can do this in a journal or simply in your mind. Personify the shadow part. Give it a face, a voice. Then, with genuine, non-judgmental curiosity, ask it questions. What are you trying to protect me from? What are you so afraid of? What do you need from me right now? Then, listen. Listen with the open heart of a compassionate parent listening to a terrified child. The answers will often be simple, primal, and rooted in old pain. The rage may tell you, "I'm here because you are letting people walk all over you, and I'm terrified you will be crushed." The jealousy may whisper, "I'm here because you were abandoned once, and I will do anything to stop that from ever happening again." Your final step is to offer this shadow part the one thing it has never had, your own understanding and compassion. Speak to it. "Thank you, rage, for trying so hard to protect me. I understand you are afraid. I am strong enough now to set my own boundaries with clarity and peace. Your violent services are no longer needed, but I honor your strength." This is the ultimate act of inner parenting. You are finding the lost children in your own basement and bringing them home into the warmth of your heart. With each part of your shadow, you integrate. You become more solid, more authentic, more powerful. You are no longer living a fragmented life, at war with yourself. You are no longer afraid of the pressure and the darkness, for you have learned that these are the very conditions required to transform the common coal of your conditioned personality into the unbreakable, multifaceted diamond of your true, integrated being. Having brought together the light and the shadow, the heavens and the earth of your own consciousness, you are now prepared for the final stage of mastery, to live an active, engaged, and effective life in the world, while remaining rooted in the profound stillness of your center. You are ready to embody the great paradox of stillness in motion. You have walked the dark and sacred ground of your own underworld, courageously extending the light of your awareness to the exiled parts of your being. You have sat with your rage, you have listened to your envy, you have held your fear. In doing so, you have performed the ultimate act of alchemy. You have not slain your dragons. You have tamed them, reclaiming the immense treasure of life force they were guarding. You are no longer fragmented, no longer at war with yourself. You are becoming whole. And so, a new question arises. A question that echoes in the mind of every seeker who reaches this stage of integration. What now? Now that I have found this inner peace, must I withdraw from the world to protect it? Must I become a passive monk, sitting in silent meditation while the world rages on? The answer, which is the key to enlightened living, is a resounding no. You have not done this profound work to become a spectator of life. You have done this work to become a master of it. The final stage is not a withdrawal from action, but the embodiment of a new, revolutionary way of acting. You are now ready to learn the sublime and powerful paradox of stillness in motion. First, we must honor the way you have always known how to act. For your entire life, your actions have been born from the frantic, forward-leaning energy of the mind. This is action born of striving. It is fueled by anxiety, by the fear of not having enough, of not being enough. It is the energy of the rower in a storm, muscles straining, teeth gritted, fighting against every wave, convinced that their own desperate muscular effort is the only thing keeping the boat from capsizing. This is the energy of hustle, the belief that more effort, more force, more sheer willpower will inevitably lead to a better result. And what has it brought you? Moments of triumph, perhaps, but at what cost? The cost is exhaustion. The cost is burnout. The cost is a constant, low-grade hum of stress that becomes the soundtrack to your life. When you act from this place, you are using the finite, easily depleted battery of your personal ego. It is a constant struggle, a battle against the current, and it is fundamentally unsustainable. Now, consider a different way. Consider the hurricane. At its edges is a maelstrom of unimaginable power, wind, and destruction. It is chaos in motion, but at the very center of this immense, swirling power is a place of perfect calm, of eerie silence, of clear blue sky. This is the eye of the storm. It is not separate from the storm. It is the silent, organizing principle from which all the storm's power originates. This is the model for your new way of being. Your enlightened life is not about avoiding the storm of the world. It is about learning to live and act from the serene, silent, powerful eye of your own inner being, even as the winds of life howl around you. How does one act from this place? It is an action that feels less like pushing and more like flowing. It is inspired action. When you are rooted in the stillness of your center, you are no longer operating from the limited data of your logical mind. You are connected to a far greater intelligence. You are plugged into the universal mainframe. From this stillness, an intuitive nudge will arise. A sudden idea will appear, not born of frantic brainstorming, but arriving as a quiet, clear gift. You will feel a gentle pull toward a certain action, a conversation, a path. There is no anxiety attached to it. There is no desperate need for it to work out in a certain way. It feels light, right, and natural. This is action born not of your will, but of a universal will flowing through you. When you act from the eye of the storm, your actions have an uncanny power and grace. You say the right thing at the right time without having rehearsed it. You make the perfect decision without having agonized over it. Obstacles seem to dissolve before you arrive. You are no longer rowing against the current. You have hoisted a sail, and the wind of the universe itself is carrying you forward. You accomplish more, with far less effort, because you are no longer using the tiny battery of your ego. You are drawing your power from an infinite source. This is the state of flow, a state where being and doing become one seamless, joyful dance. Think of a spinning top, a gyroscope. When it is spinning at its fastest, its motion is a blur of incredible speed. But at its axis, at the very core of all that motion, is a point of perfect, unwavering stillness. This is the key. The stillness is the source of the stability. The faster and more powerful the outer motion, the more profoundly still its center must be. Your power to act effectively in the world is directly proportional to your ability to remain anchored in the stillness within. The practice for this is a conscious shift in your approach to every task, from the monumental to the mundane. Before you begin, before you make the phone call, before you write the email, before you walk into the meeting, you must perform a sacred ritual of centering. Stop. Do not just launch into the action. Pause. For 10 seconds, for 3 conscious breaths, for 1 full minute, it does not matter how long. Close your eyes. Disconnect from the goal, from the desired outcome, from the anxiety about your performance. Drop your attention inward. Find the silent watcher. Find the deep, calm lake beneath the surface ripples. Find the eye of the storm. Re-establish your connection to that deep, unwavering stillness that is your true nature. From that place of quiet, you can set a simple intention. Let this action be guided by grace. Let my words be clear and compassionate. May this unfold for the highest good of all. And then you act. You move forward from that silent center, and you will be astonished at the difference. The frantic, nervous energy is gone. In its place is a calm confidence, a quiet authority. You are no longer just a person doing a task. You are a vessel of stillness in motion. As you practice this, you will come to a profound realization. This stillness, this quiet power source you are tapping into, does not feel like it belongs only to you. It feels universal. It feels infinite. You begin to understand that the eye of your personal storm is connected to the eye of every storm. You see that the silent, creative source within you is the same silent, creative source that animates the entire cosmos. The final wall, the last illusion, is the belief that there is any separation at all between the you who is acting and the universal intelligence that is guiding the action. And as this last veil thins, you are brought to the very precipice of the ultimate truth, the final destination of this entire journey, the recognition that you are not just a part of the source. You are the source itself, experiencing its own creation. You have come to a place of profound mastery. You have learned to act from the silent, calm center of your being, allowing an infinite intelligence to flow through you, guiding your steps with grace and precision. You have felt the power of this universal current. You have partnered with it. You have trusted it. And now, at the very summit of this magnificent journey, we must ask the final and most important question: what exactly is this source you have been connecting with? Who is this silent partner, this infinite intelligence that has been guiding you? The answer to this question is the final veil to be pierced. It is the ultimate revelation toward which every previous step has been leading. For this entire journey, we have operated on a useful and necessary model of duality. There has been a you, and there has been a universe. There has been a seeker, and there has been the source of wisdom. You have been the one asking, the one intending, the one receiving. The universe has been the one answering, the one responding, the one providing. This model has been an indispensable scaffold, allowing your mind to grasp the mechanics of creation and to build a relationship with a power greater than your limited ego. But a scaffold is not the building itself. A map is not the territory. A finger pointing at the moon is not the moon. The dualistic model has served its purpose beautifully, but to take the final step, you must be willing to let it go. You must be willing to see that the separation you have perceived between yourself and the universe was the final, most persistent, and most beautiful illusion of all. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a great ocean. You watch a single, magnificent wave rise from the deep. It has its own unique shape, its own trajectory, its own speed, its own moment of crashing upon the shore in a glorious spray of foam. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It has an apparent individuality. This wave is the person you have always believed yourself to be, separate entity, journeying through the vastness of existence. Now, ask yourself a simple, profound question. What is this wave made of? Is it made of some unique wave stuff number? It is made of ocean. Its entire substance, its life, its power, its very existence is, and has only ever been, ocean. You cannot separate the wave from the ocean for even a nanosecond without it ceasing to be. You are the wave, and the universe, the source, the divine intelligence, the God you have been seeking and praying to, is the ocean. The ultimate realization is not that you are a part of the ocean. It is that the ocean itself is experiencing its own existence as you. The consciousness that is looking out through your eyes at this very moment is the same. Single consciousness that animates the stars and dreams up galaxies. The life force that beats your heart is the same. Single life force that pushes the green shoots up through the soil. There are not two of you. There has only ever been one thing in this entire universe, pretending to be two for the sheer joy and adventure of discovering itself. This is the great unveiling. The power you have been learning to cultivate was never outside of you. The abundance you were attracting was never separate from you. The love you were seeking was never absent from you. You were not attracting wealth. You were giving the infinite wealth, that is you, permission to express itself through the form of money. You were not manifesting love. You were allowing the infinite love, that is you, to take the shape of a person to share it with. You were not receiving guidance from the universe. You were the universe whispering its secrets to itself. The entire journey of changing your vibration, of raising your frequency, has been the process of the wave remembering its own oceanic nature. All fear dissolves in the light of this truth. What can a wave fear? Can it fear another wave, knowing it is born of the same substance? Can it fear the rocks on the shore, knowing that its crashing is not a death, but a transformation, a return to the formless potential from which it will soon rise again? If you are the ocean, what in all of creation can possibly be a threat to you? All seeking ends here, all striving ceases. The search for purpose, for love, for security at all, comes to a peaceful, joyful end. For the seeker finally recognizes that it is, and always has been, the very thing it was seeking. There are no more techniques to learn, no more practices to master. There is only one thing left to do, to simply be what you have now remembered you are. The final practice is to rest in the pure, unadorned, and silent awareness of your own existence. It is the feeling that precedes the words, I am. Before your mind rushes to complete the sentence, I am a man, I am a woman, I am happy, I am tired, there is a silent, foundational awareness. It is the simple, luminous, and eternal fact of your own being. To rest in this I am presence, without any need to define it or qualify it, is to rest in your own divinity. It is to feel the silent hum you first heard at the beginning of our journey, and to recognize it not as a signal from a distant source, but as the fundamental vibration of your own eternal, infinite self. You have not arrived at a destination. You have awakened to the place where you have always been. The journey from being a person lost and struggling in the world to recognizing yourself as the world itself is now complete. The great circle has closed. This is not an end, but the true beginning. It is the beginning of a life lived not in a state of seeking, but in a state of joyous expression, not in a process of becoming, but from a place of simply, magnificently being. And so, we arrive at the end of our journey together, only to find ourselves standing at a true beginning. When first we met in this quiet space, you were like a rare and beautiful instrument, left forgotten in a darkened room. Your strings were slack with despair, or tightened to the breaking point with the anxieties of the world. Your surfaces were covered in the thick dust of old beliefs and the unquestioned stories of your past. An instrument designed to create magnificent music, but which had forgotten its own nature, producing only a dissonant, painful hum. Through our time together, you have learned to tend to this sacred instrument. You did not change the room it was in, nor did you demand a new orchestra to play with. The work was intimate, and it was all internal. You began by gently wiping away the layers of dust, letting go of the identities and stories that were not truly yours. You learned to listen to the wood and wire, to embrace the dark, resonant notes of your shadow alongside the bright, clear notes of your light. With conscious awareness as your guide, you began to tune the strings, testing the vibration of gratitude, of intention, of unconditional love. You learned that its purpose was not to remain silent in a corner, but to be played with courage and skill, to bring its unique music into the world from a place of profound inner stillness. The world did not change. The storms of life did not cease. The demands and challenges did not vanish. What changed was you. You learned to produce your own music, a song so clear, so authentic, so resonant with the truth of your own being, that the chaos of the world no longer had the power to throw you out of tune. You discovered that you were never at the mercy of the concert hall's acoustics. You were, and always have been, the source of the song. And when you change your song, the entire world rearranges itself to harmonize with you. This is the only power that is real, and it has been inside you all along. The journey is complete. The seeking is over. The path has led you back to the exact place where you have always stood, but you now see it with new eyes. You see that you are not the struggling human you once believed yourself to be. You are the silent awareness that witnessed the struggle. You are the love that healed the wounds. You are the source from which all things arise, and to which all things return. The hum you now hear in the quiet moments is not a distant echo. It is not something to be attained or a prize to be won. It is the fundamental vibration of what you are. It is the music of your own soul, no longer a forgotten whisper, but a clear, steady, beautiful note in the grand symphony of existence. Listen, it is calling you home.